It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, April the 17th. That was AC/DC Thunderstruck, a song about which Brian Johnson, the singer, was asked, what's Thunderstruck about? And you know what he said it was about? He said it was about Thunderstruck.
Well, yeah, it.
Yeah, he's like,
happens.
It's just that song's about that song. That's all I can tell you. And I thought, that's perfect. That says a lot. That says everything you need to know about Thunderstruck. It is about it's a little after 6 o'clock, which means we're a little over 2 hours away from the most stressful time of the day. Apparently, guys, and I want to know if you agree with this, 8:15 a.m. is the most stressful time of the day for most Americans.
Huh.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're just closing in on the work day?
I guess so. The average American apparently estimates they lose 20 minutes to unexpected morning chaos every morning. Yeah. Morning is the most stressful time, and specifically, apparently we're all circling the drain around 8:15. It's funny because for us, 8:15 is like... That's when I start to float, man. It's like we're halfway home on the morning show. It's like the workday is over, halfway done. I love that. I'm going to start thinking about that every day around 8:15. I'm going to be kicking back and going, ha, everyone else is miserable, and I'm feeling like I'm on the final lap of the day. This is great.
What about 5:15? Would that be our 8:15?
5:15 is kind of tough. I'll be honest with you. 5:15 really.
This is happening.
5:15 today, I was definitely already scrambling. Like the problem with the morning rush and people losing time, losing parts of the day, parts of the morning, I should say, this unexpected chaos. In my case this morning, that was exactly what was going on. I literally couldn't find a shoe. And now I have more than one pair of shoes, but the shoes I wanted to wear, I'm like, where's my left shoe? And at that exact moment, I mean to say, Chauncey's like, I really got some business to take care of. Can we go outside right now? And it's just one of those things. It probably cost me all of 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 minutes because I'm on a time crunch. I got to get to work. I'm already running behind. But 8:15, they say, for most people. Here's the thing, though.
Deal with it.
Deal with it, but here's how you can prepare ahead of time. Let me ask if any of this is possible for us. The night before, it says, prepare, lay out clothes, pack your school bag, set up a breakfast plan, maybe even shower in the evening.
That's stressing me out.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be stressed out before bedtime. Yeah, right. And then again at 8:15 for all the crap that comes up in the morning, like I can't find my shoe. It's unavoidable. Just I don't know, have a beer.
Candace used to do what? Lay out your clothes?
Yeah, like when I didn't have this job. Now no one cares what I look like, and if you do, I don't care.
Right. Okay, I got that. The only part of that I do is I like a shower in the evening before bed, especially at this job with these hours we keep. If you're wondering why my hair looks as crazy as it does today, it's because I took a shower and went to bed with wet hair, and boy, does it turn into
You're not supposed to do that.
Why?
My mom always told me that. Didn't your parents ever tell you never go to bed with a wet head?
No.
Oh, you can get sick.
No, I get my hair looks like I look like a lion mane sometimes when I wake up. It's just high and tall and all over the place.
Candace, did your mom send you outside to sleep at night? Was there a kennel or a dog house that your hair couldn't be wet?
Don't you guys have those things that your parents said all the time that probably aren't true? That was the one thing I used to always have to make me dry my hair completely before I went to bed.
Yeah, but there's usually a modicum of common sense involved. Like, hey, don't go outside on a cold winter day with wet hair. You'll get a cold. It turns out that's not true. Your head will just get cold, and you'll get that frozen hair helmet. However, going to bed with wet hair, I think your mom just heard it wrong.
Hair. I know that as an adult, I think she had this reason and it being that I could get sick, but the reason that I learned as an adult is that it could cause breakage.
Ooh.
Having your hair wet and not dry. Who knows? Who cares?
Any hairs break overnight there, Steve?
No. And I kid you not, my hair multiplies when I go to bed wet. It looks it's twice as big the next morning. There's nothing to be done with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you've got the stress thing going on this morning, we have a happiness hack. You've got the 8:15 stressor coming up for you. Maybe it's already kicked in for you this morning.
Yeah.
We have a happiness hack. We can't wait to share it with you. It's ridiculous, I think, but now I'm starting to come around the more I think about it. And it might make a good insult at work today. That's coming at 6:17. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, April the 17th. Good morning. 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to give away some Alice Cooper tickets. Oh, that's right. Alice Cooper. We're going to play a game. We're going to give away tickets. That's how cool we are. It is almost, we're less than 2 hours away from it being 8:15, the most stressful time of the day. This is according to a lot of people giving insight into a study. Most stressful moment of the day is 8:15. You're trying to get out of the house. You're trying to get to work. You're trying to get to school. You're late for those things, whatever it is. And we already said, thank God for us, 8:15 is cruise control around here. We're more than halfway through the workday. So I look forward to 8:15 myself. That said, if you're feeling particularly stressed this morning, here's a little daily stress exercise. Takes about 20 seconds, and we're going to walk you through it. In fact, we'll do it all. We'll do it in the studio, all of us. We'll do it ourselves, okay? I promise. We'll see if this works. Are you ready? Here we go. If you're feeling stressed already this morning, close your eyes and think about something that's been bothering you. Could be anything. Just keep it to yourself. You don't have to share it with us. Put one hand on your chest and the other on your stomach like you're giving yourself a hug.
All right, this is starting to bother me.
Yep, okay. And this is what I want you to think. How can I be a friend to myself in this moment?
Oh, my God. I'm going to put you in a headlock.
But it's not about me what I'm irritated about. It's about someone else.
But you've got to help yourself get over it. That's, I think, what we have to do.
Fine.
Yeah.
Think of a recent mistake, failure, or anything that's been bothering you.
That's what I spend most of my time trying not to do.
And then consider how thinking about this thing makes you feel. Bring one hand to your chest and the other to your stomach. Try to do it with the same warmth as if you were hugging someone else whom you loved and were trying to help through this moment.
Good touch or bad touch?
Take a few seconds. When you're ready, open your eyes and go on with your day.
I feel like we're having a Mr. Rogers moment. I'm trying not to be cynical right now. So basically, give yourself a hug. That sounds like an insult I want to start using. Why don't you go give yourself a hug?
Brian, one thing I always do when I see bad news is I look for the helpers. Sometimes the helpers are ourselves. Hug yourself.
Oh, this is the kind of stuff my hippie mom would get into. You know, Brian, you just got to give yourself a hug. She would always say, I'd get frustrated in the morning. We talk about that 8:15 thing, always late trying to get out the door to go to school or something. And she would, Brian, pack your patience. She always had those momisms that she would lay on me, stuff like that, and it never helped. I think back on it fondly now, but at the time, it just drove me, pack your patience, Brian.
Oh, my God, that's great.
I know, right? I'm like, she grew up in the 50s, or whatever, born in the 40s, grew up in the 50s, and all of that stuff.
When we were kids, there was a PSA that would come on TV. Before the more you know, there were other PSAs, and there was the one where it was... and this little song was, have you hugged your kids today? Do you remember that one, Brian? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
I'm just thinking that now for 2024, it's got to be, have you hugged yourself today?
Yeah.
We're just moving on. Now, screw your kids. Hug yourself. You're the one stressed trying to get them to school.
Yeah, you can't hug anyone else these days anyway. I mean, I suppose in your own domicile you could do it, but you can't just walk up at work and give someone a big hug.
But let's go back to pack your patience. That is great. That is good advice from Mom that falls on deaf ears until someone's probably 30. I'm sorry, that's just all there is to it. That's the concept of patience, the concept of simply sharing, taking turns. These things are difficult for all of us. But our parents tried. Yeah. They gave us great advice. Just turns out that a lot of it was bunk, as they say. Candace told us that her mom used to say, never go to bed with a wet head. Dry your hair before you go to sleep.
Right.
And it wasn't for so that it looked good, Candace. It was because she said you can get a cold that way.
That's
you can get sick. That's what she said.
She's like, your body temperature gets, cooler as you sleep. I don't know, man.
There was a lot of there was. There's a lot of things our parents said at the time. I do know this: every young parent, before your child has turned 2. But they might not be speaking English, but they certainly understand it. Before that second birthday, you have heard yourself say something your parents said that you can't believe you are now saying at least 100 times. I mean, just that you have no idea the stuff that was buried in your brain that you used to hear your parents say, like pack your patience. So there's little catchphrases, and then all of a sudden it comes out of your mouth, and that's when you go, oh, we've crossed the Rubicon here.
Yeah.
On the KQ Facebook page, what are some of the weird things your parents told you as a kid that don't make sense that turned out to be abjectly not true? Rachel posted the one I was going to go with. Never turn on the interior light in a car when driving.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right. It'll blind you.
It'll blind you. You're dangerous. The car will immediately start to swerve uncontrollably. Yeah. I tell you what, man, that Don Gorman and the dome light were mortal enemies. My dad was born to kill dome lights. We could be driving. My dad's whole thing on road trips, which I've adopted, which is get up and leave before sunrise. No matter where you're going, no matter how far the drive, if you're on the road as the sun is rising, it's an adrenaline boost. It's like the hours you spend before sunrise immediately disappear. They vaporize, and you feel like you're starting over, and you're already hours into your trip. It doesn't sound like that makes sense, but it works for me to this day. I dig it. There were moments in the car. 4 a.m. departure for the beach. Pitch black outside. The darkest before the dawn at moments of the morning. And my dad would say something like, all right, son, hey, get that thermos and pour me another cup of coffee. And I'd say, okay. And he would expect me to do that without turning on the interior light. And I'd be like, this is decades before iPhones and flashlights in your iPhones. And I would just be like, Dad, can you turn the light on? And he'd go, you have to make it quick. Are you ready? Do you have the thermos in your hand already? Do you have the cup already? It would be like a grilling of, yes, I will turn this dome light on because I need coffee, but you've got about 8 seconds, mister.
Yeah.
And I mean, the pressure would mount. My old man and that dome light, I mean, he was convinced like the Russians would invade if you left your dome light on for too long.
Yeah, right. I mean, how do they, just latch on to these old tropes, I guess. And of course, by the way, when I first started driving, I remember getting in the old Cutlass Supreme out there, and I turned the dome light on at night. I'm like, all right, I want to see what's going to happen here. I'm curious, I'm a troublemaker, a risk taker.
Yeah.
And I turned the dome light on, and I could just see around the interior of the car a bit better, and I could also see the road.
Go
Still
figure.
well lit up by the headlights. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the dome light in the old Vista Cruiser station wagon was not a halogen bulb. It was like the dimmest candle you've ever seen in your life. It barely worked. But, hey, no matter. Keep that bad boy off. The other one involving lights. This one's true, but it's the kind of thing you only have to be told once or twice, which is don't turn on your high beams if it's foggy.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that was a staple in the Gorman household as well.
Yeah. You'll kind of see that when you do that one. When you turn on the high beams when it's foggy, you will go blind. Oh, I get that one very quickly. Got it.
Yeah.
And then you would stomp on the floor again. Did you know that, Candace? When we wanted to change our high beams, we'd had to stomp on the floor. No, we did. Yeah, that's where the button was. It was down there on the floor to the left of
that's right.
the clutch or the brake.
I forgot all about
Remember the
that.
old click, click? I was just remembering the Cutlass Supreme. That's where it was or the old pickups we had out on the farm. You'd had to stomp down on the floor. But and then you maybe have to try and kind of find it. But that was one that, you could figure out for yourself pretty easily. Roger has one here on the KQ Facebook post this morning. And we'll have to get into this. We'll get along to Mike Evans. But this was all, I guess, inspired by Candace's mom's advice. Never go to bed with a wet head. Some weird things your parents told you as a kid that really didn't make sense. And Roger came up with, my mom used to always say this, make sure you have clean underwear on when you leave the house just in case you're in an accident. Now, I grew up in South Dakota. There weren't fender benders. You didn't just, stop at the stoplight. There weren't any stoplights. When someone got into a car accident, they hit a telephone pole. They rolled 15 times down through the ditch. And I thought, and you're worried about my underwear? There's going to be blood and carnage everywhere, but...
Yeah. Oh, I thought she meant, accident, a different kind of accident.
No, if you got into an accident, you wouldn't... Oh, I see, if you haven't... Well, then you wouldn't have clean underwear anymore.
You don't want to double down on it.
Don't you dare soil that soiled underwear. You soil clean underwear, young man, if you know what's good for you.
Right, I know. And then every once in a while, I remember thinking about that when I was in college and I was a little older, and I'd go, all right, all 4 pair of my underwear are so disgusting I'm going commando today. What if I get into an accident? Right? Then I'm going to be, then they're going to cut my pants off and go, this man's nude. Just leave him. We don't do nude.
My mom used to love to, she would say, I just remember there was something with the car. What was it? Maybe it was the visor was stuck or a seatbelt wouldn't move or something. And I was like, I can't get this. And she said, well, honey, you just have to ask yourself, are you smarter than that seatbelt? Are you like the vacuum cleaner would have a clog?
Yeah.
I'm smarter than a vacuum cleaner. I can figure it out. And I mean, I appreciate that. And for the most part, yes, I am smarter than a seatbelt. But that doesn't mean I have any chance of getting the clip to turn around and not be caught up in the belt itself. I don't know how it happened. It's just dead to me now. I'm just going to get some scissors and cut myself out of this. I have to get the jaws of life to get myself away from this twisted seatbelt clip. It drives me crazy.
I love it. Well, it was pets yesterday. It's parents this morning. Some weird things your parents told you as a kid that just don't make sense. It's up on the KQ Facebook page. We'll fire up the talk and text line if you'd like. 651-989-ROCK. We have sports and music history coming. Mike Evans dishing the entertainment trash. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Right now, it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Oh, man.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen. I just mean it's time. That's all.
I don't know. Let's try a different computer. I'm actually going to try this off my laptop. We've got a reboot session going on here.
Nice. Hey, these things happen. Along the way, I can share a little information, which is that at 8 o'clock, we're giving away Alice Cooper tickets, playing a great game, what was it called? Young Drunk. Young Drunk or
kid
Adult
or
Kid?
Little Adult.
Drunk Kid or Little Adult. I knew it was one or the other.
Alice Cooper tickets coming up. All right, I think we're going to try this. I'm going to hold my microphone. No, I've got it plugged in here. I need the 1/8-inch jack. Anybody got an 1/8-inch jack? In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, good morning, Steve, and good morning, Candace. Zeppy, what up? What up, Tony? Folks, did you take advantage yesterday? Marcus Theaters, $6, any movie at any Marcus Theaters. Every Tuesday, if you didn't do it yesterday, make it a plan for next week. Write it on your schedule. Marcus Theaters, $6 Tuesdays. It's the best. I got to tell you guys, I am not surprised now that OJ is finally dead that all of his legal maneuvering the past 26 years trying to hide money while fighting the Goldman and Brown's family, the nearly $100 million wrongful death lawsuit that they won against him. I am not surprised that O.J. Simpson's estate attorneys basically have reversed the fight and are not going to hide all his hidden funds. And when the estate is settled, would not be surprised if the Goldmans and Browns get paid a lot of that hidden money. And it is about time. Goofy story about Courtney Love. Steve, you might have something to say about this. I mean, she hasn't had a hit for decades. And in her career, made only one studio album. That was with the band Hole. Had 2 music videos, 5 singles, 3 soundtrack albums, 3 other collaborations. You know, the 60-year-old Courtney Love the other day blasting Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Madonna, calling them boring and not all that important as female artists. Tell me something. Would we even know who Courtney Love was had she not been stoinking Kurt Cobain? I mean,
stoinking?
What's up with that? More and more celebrities are moving out of the United States.
What?
Johnny Depp has an island in Bahamas. He also has a home in Italy. George Clooney lives in Italy. Angelina Jolie's official residence is in France. Shania Twain's main home is Switzerland. Janet Jackson still calls Dubai her home. Tim Burton, Lindsay Lohan, Kevin Spacey, just some that call London their permanent residence. And more celebrities are quietly moving out every year. To all those folks, good luck. And I say, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. TV news. CBS has finally green-lighted an all-black daytime soap opera. My question is, what took so long? The series will be called The Gates. It'll be debuting January 2025, again on CBS. And I hear the cast is going to be just 4 stars. It's going to get great ratings, finally, on CBS. And on a lighter note, do we really need a Legally Blonde 3? I mean, really? Legally Blonde 1 was made in 2001. But we're going to get a Legally Blonde 3.
Nice.
Currently in pre-production. And Reese Witherspoon is spearheading as producer and actor. Hey, have a great day. We will do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
There will be no Reese disparagement on this show.
I saw Illegally Blonde, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Well, just at a minute at a time, but
I do need to go back and correct one thing. Courtney Love and her band Hole made. Well, first of all, she was. What was that word? Spoinking.
She was skoinking. I think it was boinking and scrogging. I believe skoinking.
For the record, she made well over 1 album. Hole, off the top of my head, made at least 4 albums that I can think of. So, just a little misinformation there. Got his lines crossed.
I thought that Kurt Cobain kind of latched onto her fame. Because I thought Kurt Cobain was famous because he was skoinking with, what's her name again?
It's hard to keep it all straight. But I do know this because I was going to mention that today too. Courtney Love in an interview was saying, Taylor's this, Taylor's that, and and here's the deal: she's entitled to her opinion. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
If she's such a nobody, then why mention it? Who cares? It's like, I get the idea of you're just trying to get attention, and if that's all she's trying to do, then let's not give it to her. I don't know.
I just love that. I want to see these two together. I mean, you talk about the Christ and the Antichrist. I don't know which is which in this case, but Taylor Swift and Courtney Love, there they are. There's America right there. Look at it. Legally Blonde, both of them.
There's a photo from not that long ago of the two of them together, and Courtney Love tweeted and man, Taylor's great for girls. What a great inspiration. And she just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. She was feeling crabby, and she said something about Taylor. It's not a big deal.
You know when you bring up Courtney Love and Taylor Swift together again, when Travis Kelce is caught in the sack with Courtney Love. Now that is a lead story. That's something I'd get excited about.
All right, we'll keep you posted. Make no mistake, the first text is to you, brother, when I find out about it. All right, let's look back. In February of 1987, Harry Carey, the legendary Cubs broadcaster, suffered a stroke. And so when the Cubs season opened, he was unavailable for the booth. So they had a bunch of Chicago personalities fill in for him. George Wendt from Cheers, Jim Belushi, Pat Summerall, Brent Musburger. But the most notable was on this day in 1987 when Bill Murray called a Cubs game on TV and the radio. Here's a little bit of Bill Murray introducing the Expos starting lineup for the day.
What, you're going to be afraid of a guy named Herman winning him? We'll just throw it right down the plate when he's up. And Floyd, you, mans, will be pitching. That's the easy part. They're no good. Shouldn't be a problem. And then for the Cubs, the almighty Chico Walker in left field. Come on, let's hear it for him. Come on, everybody up. Chico Walker, come on. Ryan Sandberg, come on, let's hear it for him. Andre Dawson, come on, I know he was an Expo, but he's okay now. Come on. Keith Moreland's going to play. Come on, yeah, everybody. Zonko. Leon the Bull Durham at first base. Jody Davis, yeah, he'll be catching. Dave Martinez is in center. Sean Dunston is playing short. And Rick Sutcliffe, a tall guy with a beard, will be pitching.
And by the way, it was 4 hours of that. I remember very, very clearly when this happened. It was, of course, pre-internet, but everybody was talking about it. Did you see on the news? Did you see Bill Murray calling the Cubs game? Did you see Bill Murray calling the Cubs game? There was a moment in the game. The umpires lost their uniforms at the airport, so the game was delayed. And when they came out to call the game, they were wearing Cubs T-shirts and pants. And Murray just went berserk on that. It was fantastic.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, April the 17th. Good morning. Candace's mom is a liar. That's what we found out today.
Actually, I had John called in. He was rushing to work, but he said that his mom also told him that. and his sister did it anyway, and she got scalp fungus.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's...
the it in this conversation is going to bed with wet hair. Candace was forbidden to do so. And then, wait, this guy John called in and said his sister got what?
Scalp fungus.
Scalp fungus.
For going to bed with wet hair.
First time I've ever heard of that. Scalp fungus. Let's Google it.
I think that's what happens when you go to bed with wet hair onto a pillowcase that's never been washed. That's what that is.
I don't know, but I'm going to start a band called Scalp Fungus.
Scalp fungus.
I love it. It's a fungal infection of the scalp by mold-like fungi. It's persistent skin disorder, affects children most exclusively. Nothing in here about going to bed with wet hair, however.
Interesting. So our parents told us all kinds of things. That's what we're talking about today. Things your parents said that you later realize, like, that's nonsense. The biggest one in my family was that dome light in the car. If you're driving at night, you do not turn on the interior light or malfeasance will occur. Christine on the KQRS Facebook page wrote, her parents said, nothing good happens after 10 p.m., pretty sure I've proved that wrong hundreds of times. Okay, I dig that, but it's funny because that's a complete joke, and then one day it's actually real. There's a day in everyone's life when you go, oh yeah, wait, I'm just going to bed. No, this is ridiculous.
Right.
I've risked problems long enough today. It's time to call it a day. But there's a bunch of those that we're enjoying. If you want to share one, feel free to call us. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. Or, as I mentioned, there's a post up on the Facebook page. Let her rip.
Yeah, I don't know if this one's true, but I was thinking about that. Nothing good happens after 10. Sometimes parents know they're lying. We know we're lying to our children. We're just trying to protect them a little bit longer.
Sure.
Sooner or later, they're going to bust out of the house and go, you know what? Clapton, right? It was Robert Johnson. I forget who. After Midnight, the old blues song that's been covered. J.J. Cale, thank you, wrote that, After Midnight. And we know there's a lot of fun to be had and a lot of trouble to get into. And then, then we get through that period of our lives and get back to, you know what, mom and dad, we're eventually right. I'm just going to stay in. I don't know about this one. I heard that this is an old wives' tale as well, or an urban myth, however you want to label it. Deidre says, wait an hour after eating before swimming so you don't get cramps. My mom she would swear on the Bible with that one. She had us so terrified of going near water after we ate that I thought if I just waded into the pool or the lake ankle deep, I would immediately die.
Oh, yeah.
From the you're going to get the bends or cramps, and you're going to curl up into a fetal position and go straight to the bottom. You're a dead man if you go in right after you have a hot dog at the picnic table.
I spent every day of every summer of my childhood at the pool, and I put that to the test every time my parents weren't there. I would eat and immediately dive in because I was like, I want to see what one of these cramps feels like. Never happened once.
Yeah. I think that's been debunked. I'm not remembering exactly. That one's been debunked. Watermelons will grow in your stomach if you swallow seeds. I've heard that one before, mostly from other kids, but there's a fine line between.
But it started somewhere.
Yeah, it started somewhere, and there was a mom that said, don't eat the seeds. That was like my mom telling me not to drink the pickle juice. She knew she was lying to me, but everything would give you worms. That was my mom's thing.
Worms.
Yeah, don't play with that. You'll get worms. Don't drink the pickle juice. You'll get worms. Instead of, just don't drink the pickle juice because the pickles will dry out, Brian, and it ruins the entire jar of pickles. Just don't do it because I said so.
My mom used to forbid me from eating worms because it would give me worms. That's as far as that went. 651-989-ROCK. That's the KQ Talk and Text line. Candace, who's on the horn?
Amy from Hutchinson.
Amy, good morning.
Good morning.
What's
I wanted to tell you what my dad told me in high school.
Okay, please.
He said smoking pot would give me brain damage. And then he said, if I ever find out you're doing it, I'm going to bash your head in.
All right. That's a dad thing.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll give you the brain damage.
Yes. He also always told me if I ever got arrested and thrown in jail, don't ever waste your one and only phone call on me.
Oh, boy. Wow. That'll get your attention for sure.
Exactly.
Wow.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks for the call.
Yeah,
my dad was a similar mindset. He was like, you get arrested, you're on your own. One of the Gorman brothers was arrested, and the police came to the front door looking for him. Tom Gorman
Yeah.
here. Yes, he is. Boom. Took him right out of the house in cuffs. What my dad didn't know when he said, "I'll see you tomorrow," meaning you'll be overnight with the police. I'll come and get you in 8 hours. That was my dad's hard line. What he didn't know is my brother was flying high on LSD at that time.
Yeah.
Hey now, nothing like going to jail tripping for the first time.
I think that was yesterday was the anniversary of LSD. Dr. Albert
right.
Hoffman cooked that stuff up back in the day. I got busted in Huron, South Dakota, driving around with some beer in the car when I was a teenager, and they hauled me off to the clink. And it wasn't an arrest or charge thing. They just took me in and said, "We're going to have your parents come pick you up. Call your parents." So I did. I called my Uncle Frank, who I said was my parent. I thought I was being pretty wise there because Uncle Frank's a troublemaker and a boozer, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought he'll come get me, and he lives in Huron. It's 25 miles. I knew Dad wasn't coming in, and then he would know, but Uncle Frank would come pick me up, take me home, and none would be the wiser except, Dad was hanging out at Uncle Frank's that night, and he actually answered the phone, to my surprise, because remember back when you do that when you were just at a family member's house and you were nearest the landline?
Of course.
Can you grab that, Skip?
Yeah.
And Skip grabbed it, and he, by the way, did come down. It turns out he couldn't wait to bail me out of jail. And it wasn't a bailout kind of situation. It was just to pick me up because, he couldn't wait to punish me. He was all excited about that.
He gave you quite a shaking on that one.
Yeah.
You just said, yesterday was the anniversary, 1943, the first time somebody ever tripped on LSD, a chemist in Switzerland, I believe. It created it, and then he put some on it got into his fingers. It came in through the bloodstream. And I would imagine that stuff was pretty strong. And again, long before psychedelic rock. I mean, imagine what music sounded like the first time somebody was on acid. He's listening to, Take the A Train or so. He's listening to, big band swing music. And all of a sudden, it's like, I've got to now invent a wah-wah pedal, and I don't even know what that is. But one thing leads to another. So yesterday was LSD Day. Today is Banana Day. It is National Banana Day. Did you know that?
Oh.
I love to buy bananas and apparently just watch them rot on my counter.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I eat one, I'm like, no, I'm going to eat a banana every day. That's a perfect breakfast. I can eat that before work, and it's nutritious. And then 5 days later, Maria, do you want to make banana bread? Because Mom said when they get to be this color, no? Okay. Damn it. And then... yeah, because there's flies. There's those little tiny mites flying around. I'm going to pitch them in the garbage. But I do occasionally eat a couple. I like bananas.
Technically speaking, because a banana is grown from a flower with a single ovary, and because it contains seeds, it is botanically a berry.
Oh.
What?
Bananas fall into the berry category.
No.
Candace's mind blown.
I'm not accepting that.
It's not a berry.
Bananas were referred to in the Gorman household on a couple of occasions as nature's batteries.
That's right.
Nature's batteries.
I'm tired, Mom would always say, eat a banana. It's back to Mom, right?
Yep.
Eat a banana. I'm like, I don't know. I was, thinking maybe coffee or
eating
a nap.
Eating a banana was always that was a cure-all in our house for sure.
Well, my great-great-grandma Mabel lived until she was 106, and my mom said she ate a banana every day.
I remember reading it. There's John Irving, the author, World According to Garp, Hotel New Hampshire, wrote a bunch of great books, Prayer for Owen Meany. John Irving, in his personal life as a kid, grew up wrestling, so there's a lot of wrestling in his books. And one of them, there's the whole thing is about just all you got to do if you want to be in shape is eat bananas and do push-ups. There's a high school wrestling coach, I believe, and or maybe it's like a guy's cool uncle, like your uncle, Zep. But he tells the kid in the book. I just remember reading this when I was in high school, and it was like push-ups and bananas. And I was like, man, that makes perfect sense to me. I'm going to do it. I love bananas, and I guess I'll learn to love push-ups. That lasted about 4 days. And I was like, if I never have another banana in my life, I'll be fine.
You can OD on bananas, yeah.
It does happen. Bananas are the most purchased item in produce departments in America. 6th on the list of all supermarket items. I mean, this is pretty incredible. Here's the top things bought at supermarkets in America. Bread, eggs, meat, milk, coffee, and then bananas.
Bananas.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty heady stuff right there, man. The first bananas in the U.S., 1876. They were brought in for the Philadelphia Centennial Exhibition. They were wrapped in foil and sold for 10 cents a piece. 10 cents in 1876. I'm going to assume that's a couple bucks at the very least. I can only imagine the first time people saw a banana, they were like, wait, what is going on here? And then they opened it up and, oh, yeah. But, Zepp, you mentioned when everything's running you down, eat a banana. The best things when you need an energy boost, though, a banana is a pretty good thing to have. But you can also go for some complex carbohydrates. Wheat bread, oatmeal, brown rice, beans, potatoes. They break down more slowly than simple carbs, and the energy lasts longer. Remember that.
Right.
So just remember, I need a quick pick-me-up. I'm going to eat some boring-ass food.
Right. Or
wheat bread,
some meth.
oatmeal, brown rice, please.
No. Really?
That's what they say.
I mean, the poke bowl, I like those poke places every once in a while. Yeah, you get some brown rice, and you can go with the brown rice, the sushi rice, something crazy.
If I'm going to eat brown
like
rice, I just put some fish on there, put some hot sauce involved. I'm fine with it. But just getting some brown rice because I need an energy boost, no thanks. I will put on another pot of coffee. Although, and people always say this too, like coffee in the morning, first thing, great, but then throughout the day, water does a better job of making you feel energized. And I have done a lot of, on and off the big time water consumption and then I'll get bored with that and stop. Water doesn't make me feel energized, but when you drink a lot of water for a period of time and then you cut it back, then you feel more tired. Like you don't get the high, but you definitely get the I need water low, and that's just unfair. Let's just call it what it is. If I'm gonna drink, a gallon of water over the course of a day, at some point I'd like there to be a bit of a buzz. No buzz at all.
No.
But when you cut back on that water, then you just want to jump off a cliff, and that's just not the way it's supposed to be.
No, it's not. It doesn't seem fair, but that's how the whole water thing works, or the fact that you can't, like, say a beer. What do they say? Beer is like 90% water, but it doesn't hydrate you. Just that has enough alcohol in there to dehydrate you, and that's not fair either.
Well, I'm still doing a case study on that. I'll let you know my results eventually. I'm coming up on 40 years of trying to make sure that that's not exactly how that works.
Yeah, we'll just keep trying. That's all we can do. 92 KQRS presents Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. I guess Ministries on the bill as well. Sunday, August 25th at the Excel Energy Center. Yeah, we've got tickets to that show, but you've got to earn them with little kid or drunk adult. That's not coming till 8 o'clock. We're talking about some weird advice our parents gave us this morning, and this one sounds like, I wonder does your mom have a sister? I wonder if is there another family out there with a Sarah as a child? You don't have a cousin named Sarah, do you? Because her mom told her to never sit on cold concrete because you'll get hemorrhoids. What? I don't.
What? Cold concrete.
Well, first of all, why can't we sit on cold concrete, Mom? Sometimes moms just didn't want us to do things that there was no reason why we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Going outside with a wet head. All right, maybe there's some things there, but never sit on cold concrete because you'll get hemorrhoids. I've never put it to the test, and you know what? It's mom advice, so I'm not putting that one to the test. We'd love to hear from you. 651-989-ROCK. Weird advice from parents. We have a post up on the KQ Facebook page as well. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, April the 17th. Quick story out of Memphis, Tennessee. A gentleman on Monday night walked into a Shell gas station at about 2 a.m. It was on Elvis Presley Boulevard, which makes perfect sense. Every city should have an Elvis Presley Boulevard. Walks in at 2 a.m. and he makes a purchase. About 30 minutes later, he comes back into the store and says, hey, I need all the money in the register. And the cashier was like, not sure if this guy has a weapon or not, but he keeps reaching into his clothing. I'm not sure how to handle this. The cashier decides he's going to take a chance and say, no, I'm not giving you any money
bold.
Because you're not showing me a weapon. The guy turns around and leaves. Comes back again 30 minutes after that with his weapon. What is the weapon? A 5-foot snake wrapped around his own neck.
Say what?
He came back with a 5-foot snake screaming, give me all the blankety blank money. and then holding a backpack as well.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if Steve Gorman's working the counter, you're not only giving him the register, but you're emptying your pockets probably.
That's where I was going. He picked the wrong guy. If it's me, you walk in with a 5-foot snake around your neck, I'm giving you my child. Whatever. Yeah. Just get away from me with that snake. Take my car. Here's the keys to my house. Just please keep moving with the snake.
Does it say how this cashier played this one?
He pulled out his own gun and held it on the guy and called 911.
Never bring a snake to a gunfight.
That's exactly right. The police showed up. They actually arrested the guy. They found a backpack, which did not. The guy was holding a backpack as well, and he kept reaching into it but not pulling anything out. There was no gun of his own, but he did have a rock and a railroad spike in the backpack.
Right.
And that just reminds me of. This is why I don't know this, but I'm going to say drugs are involved, and here's why. Because somebody had the idea of I think I'm going to go rob the store. I'm going to need something. I don't have a gun. Only someone really high goes, hang on, where's that railroad spike and that rock and that snake? Okay, I'm ready. And then they go.
All threatening things, by the way.
Yeah, I had a dinner once years ago at the guy and you know what it was, Mickey Raphael, who's a harmonica player who's been playing with Willie Nelson for over 50 years. He's Willie's harp player, and he is in Nashville. He's the go-to guy if you're doing a session and you need a harmonica player. The question on every producer is Mickey in town. That's the question, because if he is, that's who you're hiring for the session. He's an awesome dude, one of my favorite people, and a great harmonica player, obviously. And he asked me over to dinner one night. Hey, man, come get a bite. Cool. You and Rosemary, come over. We go to his house, and he had a buddy there named Michael Smotherman, who's no longer with us, a songwriter for years. And Michael Smotherman told me the greatest story I ever heard, and it was about Roger Miller, the old country legend, King of the Road Roger Miller, and a bunch of other hits in the 60s and 70s. And Roger was a man who liked to get high and stay high. And there were some amazing stories of 3- and 4-day binges in his Beverly Hills estate in the early 70s. And Roger got a call once. He had forgotten that he had a casino gig in Vegas that night. And it was a casino run by some unsavory characters, and they kind of had Roger by the short hairs where when they needed him, he just had to go play a show. I don't know if it was gambling debts. I don't know what it was, but basically there was one phone call that Roger Miller could never turn down. And the phone call came, we need you tonight at the casino. We're sending a car to pick you up. You'll fly a plane. You need to be here in 6 hours. And Roger had been up for days. And he was like, I'm in no condition to perform, but he couldn't say no. And so it led to this experience where he was running around the house trying to pack a suitcase because he's got to get to Vegas. And, oh, my God, I need help. He packs a suitcase, runs into the car. The limo picks him up. They take him to the airport, gets on a private plane, flies to Vegas, quick flight, 40 minutes or so, lands, gets to his hotel room, and they're like, okay, you have 5 hours to take a nap and try to get yourself together. And, of course, Roger had something to help him nap as well, pops a few pills. Long story short, wakes up 5 hours later. They say, Roger, you're on in an hour. He says, great, let me get dressed. Opens his suitcase that he had spent 30 minutes packing, and there were 2 items in it, a necktie and a ball-peen hammer.
I didn't see it coming. I was trying to come up with something quick in my head.
But I just love the idea. I've always loved the idea of a guy like, okay, I got to go to Vegas. I got to play a gig. How high are you? And the answer is, get that tie. And then that hammer. Where's that hammer? I'm going to need that hammer.
They're pretty freaking high. If he sobered up at any moment and opened up his suitcase, it was greeted with a,
it's just my favorite. I got to write a movie
right now.
I got to write a movie or do a TV show one day where that scene is included, where some artist is on their way and they're so high they grab a hammer.
Yeah. It might come in handy. You never know. A ball-peen hammer.
You just never know. By the way, speaking of people getting way too out over the skis and losing track of the kind of life that we need to be living. Okay, we've all seen a rise in doorbell cameras over the last couple decades. The Ring camera. I've got one at our house in Nashville. We got a security system upgrade a few years ago, and they brought cameras. And I was like, I don't know if we need cameras, man. It's a quiet neighborhood. And the guy's like, it's included in the new wireless alarm system, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's enough break-ins where I'm like, I don't want to not have an alarm system, but the cameras, it kind of creeped me out. I was like, what does this mean? But we got them just, at the doors, nothing interior, but just exterior. And then, of course, I'm the douchebag who once a day I check the app just to see. Like all of a sudden, I had an entire life without security cameras where I was fine. And the minute they gave them to me, I started getting paranoid because now I can look and see if anyone's walking by the house or you get that notification. Before I set the settings the way I liked them, I would get it. My phone would ding every time someone just walked by. And I was like, whoa. This is nuts. And I recognized right away, like, okay, this is just driving. We're all collectively going nuts because of our doorbell cameras. Well, we've taken the next step.
All right.
There's a new innovation in doorbell cameras. There's a Kickstarter out there, and it's people are raising money. They've got a new device. It's the Paint Cam Eve. It shoots paintballs as well as cracks open cartridges of tear gas.
All right. I'm immediately excited about this, even though I'm also immediately thinking about 4 or 5 things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, where's the technology on this? I don't want to tear gas myself coming home, you know what I'm saying?
10 years ago, we never knew who was at the door. You heard a knock or a doorbell, and it was like, I wonder who that is. And then, all of a sudden, we're now, as I mentioned, alerted when anyone's even approaching. Now we know who they are. Now we can see if they're carrying anything. And we can even yell at them if it's a delivery. And you're like, hey, you dropped that box a little brusquely, mister.
Right.
You constantly see this. And now, doorbell cameras and devices that are armed to shoot if someone comes onto your property. Paintballs, boom, with apparently ultra high precision. And the Kickstarter is saying, well, if you look out and someone's toilet papering your trees, or if it's a neighbor's pet doing his job in your front yard, blast him with a paintball canister.
Hell yeah.
What in the world?
I don't know. Things are, like I said, I immediately like it. But if I immediately like it, there's probably several reasons this thing can go sideways. By the way, we have the Kickstarter. I think, this is their legit commercial for it.
An AI-powered robotic security system equipped with an integrated paintball launcher, face recognition, and sound dispatchers, which allows me to recognize intruders and stop them in their tracks. You are identified as a non-authorized personnel.
That's exciting.
You have 5 seconds to leave the property. 0 compliance. 0 tolerance.
Yeah, can I get RoboCop's voice on that instead? I mean...
You'd have to.
Yeah, something like that. That's, I mean, like I said, it's...
Do you remember the old video game called Berserk? And intruder alert, intruder alert. That's what I would want. I would just want that Berserk voice saying intruder alert over and over. By the way, as long as they're raising money for this, the Kickstarter to raise money to develop this product, go ahead and start a Kickstarter for all the people who are looking at this and going, oh, I need to get my law degree stat because we're going to be suing the living daylights out of everybody who shoots a paintball at some innocent kid.
Or some Uber driver is going to get nailed, and then, there's going to be a lawsuit or something like that. But it's relax, Steve. AI is in charge. AI has this. What could possibly go wrong?
Would you like some Girl Scout cook? No.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. What about the children? That's what everything comes back to. What about the children?
Think about the kids.
I saw a snake and I was chasing him, and then I got hit by a paintball and tear gassed, and now I'm crying. Speaking about the children, check this out. Northern Minnesota School District is looking for feedback from families because this is the Carlton School District, they are thinking it's time to get serious. It's time to get real. It's time for a 4-day school week.
Yeah.
Cool, baby.
Yeah, I mean, they're we have the worst school system in the entire world. Why not, double down on it? Sure. I love their reasoning. We just want kids to be free. We just want them to go out and do their own thing. Mm-hmm. You know what they're going to be going out and doing, right? They're not going to be going out and painting, appreciating nature. They're not going to go out and start helping old ladies across the street on their day off. It's just more hijinks, man.
Go back to when you were a kid. If the school had said, what would you do if you didn't have to come to school every Friday?
Yeah.
I would be the first kid. I would have said, I'd sit in a tree and write poetry.
Yeah, right. I'd tell them exactly what they wanted to hear, and then I'd load up my .22 and go out and shoot stop signs all day.
I've been thinking about starting a Meals on Wheels program. This would really be the kick in the butt I need to get that going.
Yeah,
Please.
why not? Hey, listen, AI is coming along. I see now that teachers want to use AI in the classroom. They're saying they can help with about 65% of my work. I don't have to grade these papers. Hell, I don't even have to come up with assignments. AI can do this for me. So AI is going to be doing a lot more for us. I don't know that our kids, they're already walking around with the most powerful computer ever invented in their hands. We all have one of these stuck in our pocket somewhere, laying around. Here's mine right here. That's my brain right there. I don't need this thing inside my skull. So school's becoming a bit outdated, isn't it? We're just warehousing our kids so we can go, I don't know, make a living or catch a nap or something.
That's a big part of it. I mean, the first problem parents have with this is, well, wait a minute. It's basically it's daycare. I mean, like, well, if my kid's got one less school day, then I have to change my whole thing. I mean, you're exactly right. The 5-day work week, the 5-day school week, it's all a part of a system that flows together. In much smaller countries where it's easier to do anything, literally, Scandinavia, there's a lot of people that always point to, well, the way they do it in Norway, and it's genius. And it's like, there's 11 people there. It's always a lot easier.
They get 1 week
place.
Off a year.
Yeah.
1 week off a year.
You get a good, but it was Finland I was reading about. Finland has got some of the highest rates, like the smartest kids, and they don't have homework. There's no homework in Finland because they're like, no, as soon as they leave school, we want them to go get imaginative and creative and sit in a tree and write poetry and all those things. And apparently some of the kids do. Some don't. But
who's going to dig the ditches?
But the point you're making is, see, now that's a whole nother story because in those sort of countries, well, you know what? I'll put it this way. I've been in Scandinavia on tour. And I've gone into, you're on the bus and you're driving, and just like when you're on tour in the States, you hit a lot of truck stops at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You're in between cities, the truck pulls in, your bus needs gas, you got to get a snack, you're stoned as a bat, and you just got to get some of that great European chocolate, whatever it is. You walk in, and I'll notice this at gas stations and truck stops, like the clerks, the young men and women that work there, they're like models. They're beautiful, handsome, ripping guys, gorgeous women. And you think to yourself, wow, I don't see gorgeous people working the night shift at truck stops in America. They're usually older, and they're just not, and it's just this weird concept of you can get away with a lot when you're just drop dead gorgeous in America. That's where I'm going with this. Like somebody's going to say, you're going to go apply for a job at a gas station because you need to work, and it doesn't matter if you're beautiful. But somehow between you getting that job and reporting for your first day, that's when the Ford modeling agency discovers you, apparently. Because when's the last time you saw anybody that you just couldn't stop staring at working any regular counter job that was over, not a high school kid, I'm talking about like a young adult. And so, I
was in Cub Foods the other day, and one of them had a huge, humongous, and it wasn't even red. It was a purple zit right on the end of his nose.
Yeah.
I could not stop staring at that thing.
That's what you
I thought it was going to pop in my face. I kept kind of flinch ducking, every time he'd turn his head.
And so these places, they don't have the same value. They don't put the same emphasis on things. The idea of kids sitting in trees and writing poetry actually makes sense to them. That's where this is all coming around.
Yeah.
This is a moment when I'm suddenly realizing, oh man, I need some more coffee because I'm not connecting the dots the way I was planning to. But the point is, a 4-day school week, that sounds great on paper. And yes, other places have shown that kids don't need that much homework, if any. They don't need to be hit over the head because all this is coming back to your point, Zep. Everything you need is in your pocket. It's on your iPhone. Yeah. You have a skill or a passion, and hopefully if the two things have any combination, if you actually enjoy something you're also good at, you're on your way. You don't need necessarily to know what the Battle of 1812 was actually all about. It's helpful to know. I think curiosity is a wonderful thing. There's nothing wrong with knowing about the Battle of 1812. I learned about it as a school kid in Maryland, because that's when Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. That's when the British came back and tried to kick some ass again. But that's all I remember. I literally have forgotten just about everything else other than 2 points. I've done okay. I didn't need to know it. I'm curious. Now I'm going to Google it during the break and go, wait, remind myself. And by tomorrow, I will have forgotten it all over again.
Well, I'm not going to rely totally on my phone for everything, Steve. That's crazy. My grandpa told me to always have an atlas in my car, so I'm going to stay true to that. I'm not taking that atlas out. I'm keeping it in there.
I know that about
just
you.
In case.
I know that about you, and I like that about you.
Yeah, you get stranded out in the middle of nowhere, you can use it as toilet paper. They're so big, you can roll it up and use it as a self-defense, kind of like a baton. If somebody comes at you at a gas station, there's lots of reasons to use it. Occasionally, you might find yourself in the middle of Nebraska looking for a gas station. I don't know.
You know how some people go awry is they grow up with the atlas in the car. They recognize the importance of that, and then they splurge and they get themselves the really big like trucker atlas from the 90s with laminated pages.
Oh,
and you think, man, I've made it. I finally committed to the $200 Rand McNally laminated page atlas. But like Zepp just said, but when you need it for toilet paper, what good is it? None at all.
It's no good. It's no good. I guess you could use some ground. Whatever's in the ditch out there that you're stranded in or whatever.
We'll keep you updated on whether there's going to be a 4-day school week up north.
Yeah,
but here's another local story. I think this is an important one to get to. Women in Minnesota may soon be legally permitted to go topless in public spaces.
Oh, gosh, finally.
Yeah, I know this comes up occasionally here, and I thought it was actually already passed. And yeah, I'm excited about it. Listen, we all like boobs. Candace, you like boobs. Yeah. I like boobs. Boobs are great, and I don't see any reason why if a guy can go topless, a woman can't. Mm-hmm. Of course, like I've said before, women don't expect us not to stare, at least initially until culture, until it becomes like, oh, there's some boobs, whatever, because it's new. But that's the only thing I worry about is that there's a lady walking past me topless or laying there, and I glance, and she goes, "What are you looking at? My eyes are up here." Well, then don't, because your boobs are out.
Don't worry about it. This is one of those things that don't tell us we can't. But we won't. I don't think anyone is going to.
I was going to ask you that. Would you and your friends thank God I can finally walk down West River Parkway?
Guys out there, ew.
Oh, no.
Right?
Trust me. The Richfield 7 is, well, in this case, it would be the Richfield 14. They're just going to go right down to the Minnehaha Falls and be like, here you go. Here's the freedom we've so desperately been yearning for.
And call me old-fashioned, but I don't want it to become blasé. I still want to stay excited about the prospect of a nip slip, or that I've earned it. Like I did something so well that she's taking her shirt off for me, and then I get to see them and play. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, Steve. We're trying to communicate this morning. It's kind of coming together, these thoughts in our heads, because this one's confusing. I'm a father of 2 daughters. I want to be progressive here, but I'm also a dude, and boobs.
The ultimate issue here comes down to women are saying, why am I not allowed to be topless, or why is it lewd? As far as how the guys respond, that's got to be on the back burner. This is an issue coming from a different place. There is a bill proposed in the Minnesota Senate. It would exclude solely exposing your breasts from criminal penalties under state law. The legislation aims to clearly define what indecent exposure is. So basically what it's saying is merely exposing a breast is not going to be against the law. Now, they're not suggesting that they're not saying women can just go, running rampant, jump up and, hey, motorboat this. That's not what we're looking for here, Zep. No. It's just a question of...
Yeah, just in case, I'm pumping my gas tank and I get gas all over my shirt.
I
got to take it off. And then I can't get in trouble for that.
Wait, you know what? I think I read a letter in the Penthouse Forum about that. I never thought this would happen to me. I was pumping gas, and the most beautiful girl I ever saw was at the pump across from me, and she accidentally pumped gas all over her shirt.
I was in Finland, I believe.
That's exactly what that sounds like.
I remember what country was I in? Oh, I was in Germany. I remember being in Germany and being in a bar and looking up at the television, and there was a woman pouring milk all over her bare breast on the television in the bar. And I thought, oh, you guys show porn. I said to when the German folks were with, I said, oh, you guys show porn in this bar? And they looked up and they said, that's a milk commercial. I went, you mean just like on TV, like it's being broadcast into people's homes right now? It's a whole different thing, and it's a culture, and they've gotten used to it. And guess what? The only one staring at the television were the Americans sitting in there, and our eyes were glued to it. They were like, do you want some milk? I'm like, well, milk? Not at the moment.
It's I remember the first time my school we used to get exchange students all the time. And one time a kid came and he was actually from England. And he mentioned the fact that at 16, he started going to the pub with his parents. And we looked at him like he was Clark Kent / Superman. Wait, what? He's like, oh, yeah, 16, But they would call the kids in there 14, 15. As long as you're with your mom and dad, a pint's not going to hurt anything. And we literally, we were like, tell us more, wise sage. You've been in a pub legally drinking and you're not even 18. Yeah. We could not believe it.
Right. You know what I'd like to see them add to this bill? Go ahead and decriminalize women exposing their breast in public, but could we criminalize men showing their breast in public?
Yeah.
Could the guys put their shirts on and the women take their shirts off? Let's try that for the next decade and see if we can't get away with that. But right now, we got to move along. It's game show time, boys and girls. I don't know if you've heard or not, but 92 KQRS presents Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. That's happening Sunday, August 25th at the Xcel Energy Center. And, oh, by the way, there's a couple of tag-along bands. This is the Freaks on Parade show. Zombie and Alice Cooper. What took so long? Special guest Ministry, of course, and Filter. Oh, hell yeah. I'm there. So we've got a couple of tickets. That's the grand prize. Runner-up, not bad, Corey Stevens, Friday at the Medina Entertainment Center for the Blues. Thank you to the Medina Entertainment Center. It's a little kid or a drunk adult this morning. We'll need 2 callers, 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, April the 17th. Good morning. Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, a song very famously and honestly written by Keith Richards as he slept. My man used to travel in the mid-'60s on tour with a tape recorder. He left it by his bed every night. And he got up one morning, I believe he was in Tampa, Florida, and noticed that he had recorded something over the course of the evening. He woke up, turned on his recorder, played a riff, sang a little bit, and went back to sleep. Didn't remember doing it, but right there on the tape was that riff for Satisfaction. The best thing I ever did while asleep, I'm trying to think of what that might be. It sure as hell wasn't writing an all-time rock and roll classic.
No. I mean, the best thing I ever did while I was asleep was sleep. Sleep. Go, get into the deep REM stuff. Otherwise, I don't know what didn't fall out of bed. Wow. Yeah, I didn't have any of those brilliant moments where I ever woke up. A couple of times I'd wake up and go, dead air. Yeah. What? No, okay. Thank God. It's only 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going back to bed. But yeah, nothing brilliant. I've never woken up with a brilliant idea.
I wake up and wonder just what is happening. My unfettered subconscious is a terrifying thing. And speaking of terrifying things, Japanese researchers have crafted a groundbreaking dream recording device. It merges neuroimaging with AI. It captures dream-induced neural activity, transforming it into vivid visuals. Through this fusion of brain imaging and advanced algorithms, they have deciphered dream imagery, paving the way for a device that transforms your dreams into video sequences. What I'm telling you is they believe they are coming very close to providing you with an opportunity to see your dreams in video form after you wake up.
I feel like this is like a horror movie plot.
That's exactly what it is.
Once we have it, we're not going to want it.
David Cronenberg can't wait to get his hands on this scenario and just watch a society devolve. Mm-hmm. Because the next step, of course, is then we can record our waking thoughts. We'll have our AI glasses on. I'll look at Steve, and I'll be able to read his thoughts. I'll be able to visualize his thoughts and think to myself, wait, I thought he really liked me. That's bastard.
That's the countdown to World War III in 3.
It is. 2, recording dreams. 1. I mean, we all want to see our dreams, right? It's got to be private, obviously, and nothing is private because it's going to be recorded in some sort of internet scenario kind of situation. But, I want to record my dreams. I'm fascinated. I want to look back at them. I don't know that it's going to make me happier or more productive or a better person.
I have a very, 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 very vivid dreams. And I mean, last night, in fact, I have a I've had a series of similar recurring dreams. It's never the exact same dream, but there's a circuit I go through, and it probably corresponds with various stressors in my life or times when things are going really well, whatever. But one recurring dream I have, it involves my former band, the Black Crowes, and it's always the same in that it's this. I'm going to go back and play a show with the band. And that's fine. Okay, I've clearly decided to do this.
Yeah.
But the dream is I'm literally in the dressing room and I'm looking at a set list and I don't know any of the songs. And I'm also going, how did I get here? Like, wait, I don't remember. I remember we were talking about it, but I don't remember agreeing to this. And so I'm what I'm juggling is I don't know how the songs go, and we're on in a few minutes. And also, how exactly did this happen? In my dream, I'm thinking, did I bump my head? Did I just wake up? And it's just confusing. It's just probably a classic stress dream. Yeah, the dream within a dream. And I had that and that happened last night when my alarm went off this morning. That's where I was. I was looking at a set list and going, oh my God, I don't know how these songs go, and we're literally about to go play a show. So I don't see, and I can remember it. The last thing I need to do is watch it.
Yeah.
The last thing I would need to do, but I do know this about myself. If you provided me with that device, I'd look at it every damn day. I would drive myself crazy.
We would. It only turns us more inwards. Listen, evolution is this amazing thing. I mean, it is probably the evolution of life and organisms and how we've evolved over the millennia is quite a profound thing. And it has a way of taking care of us. You know, it weeds out bad behaviors. It rewards and promotes and evolves good behaviors.
Yep.
And most of us forget most of our dreams. Most of us don't know most of our dreams. That dream you're talking about playing again with the Black Crowes and it being a messed up scenario, that happened the last 60 seconds you were sleeping as you were coming out of your dream state.
Yeah.
There's a reason we don't remember most of our dreams. There's a reason we quickly forget them or that we don't remember our dreams from the entire night. And now we want to unlock that. We want to open that Pandora's box because we're curious. Curiosity killed the cat. You know, I hate to fall back on that because I'm all about let's move things forward. Let's get AI going. Let's get those 3D printers working for ourselves, you know, that sort of thing. But I feel like this one, and then the moment we can start reading it, and then it's just a quick step to reading each other's thoughts, and then it's game over. Then it's, the purge.
Carl Jung, a brilliant psychotherapist, said dreams are the theater of the mind where our innermost fears and desires take center stage, which is a ringing endorsement to never being allowed to see our dreams. If ever there was a quote that said, so we got to zip that up and close it away, put that at the core of the earth, please, my God.
Right. I know we've got to get onto a game show here, but really quickly, I saw a story and we sent it along. Maybe we'll talk about it sometime, but they're doing a beauty pageant. The first beauty pageant with AI generated models. No real people being involved in the beauty pageant. I know, I was checking it out. I'm like, they're all 10s. You know, they're stunning. But anyway, all right. How about we give away some concert tickets?
I think that makes perfect sense. Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper at, Sunday, August 25th at the XL Energy Center. And we've got tickets to give away. We've also got a runner-up prize today, Corey Stevens, Friday at Medina Entertainment Center. Oh, baby, we are going to play a game called Little Kid or Drunk Adult. And we have two callers lined up and ready to rock. Candace, who is contestant number one?
Kim from Baldwin, Wisconsin.
Kim, good morning. You with us, Kim?
Can you hear me?
There you go. Got you loud and clear. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
There.
Yes, we got you.
Way over there in Baldwin, where there are no cell towers, apparently.
That's how it works. Kim, are you a Rob Zombie and or Alice Cooper fan?
I am a huge fan of both, and I've seen Rob Zombie and White Zombie, but I have never seen Old Black Guys, and I would love to see him.
Right on. Well, you are in the right place, my friend. We're going to play a game called Little Kid or Drunk Adult. Zepp will take it from here. He'll explain it, and then we'll be off and running.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, I was just looking at our first caller here for Little Kid or Drunk Adult. What's your name again, our contestant? Kim, sorry. All right, I almost called you Mindy, but we have Mindy here. Kim, you understand how Little Kid or Drunk Adult works? Have you heard us do this before?
Yes, this is like the hardest one you guys do.
Yeah, it's because it's a flip of the coin, because there's a very, very fine razor-thin line between our behaviors as a little kid and a drunk adult. And so Mindy, here now, Kim, will give you a scenario, and you tell us if she was a little kid or drunk adult.
So I got kicked off a plane for crying too loud.
Mindy got kicked off a plane for crying too loud. Was she a little kid or a drunk adult, Kim?
Let's say drunk adult.
I was a drunk adult.
Wow.
They would not serve me a mudslide, so I just started crying really, really hard. You know, they asked me to stop, and I couldn't. I literally just got dumped by my fiance, so I was having a completely full-on breakdown. They kicked me off the plane, and I still did not stop making a scene. I cried all the way off the plane.
She just wanted a mudslide. That was a hard one to hear. Some of these are better quality than others, but
I can't imagine how anybody could break up with a girl like that.
I'm just going to sit here and cry until I get what I want. That should have been a little kid behavior, but indeed it was a drunk adult. And Kim, congratulations, you're 1 for 1. You've got 3 of these. It's Jeannie now, little kid or drunk adult.
I attempted to cook a frozen pizza in my toaster and ended up catching my entire kitchen on fire.
Tried to cook a frozen pizza in a toaster. She didn't specify, but I'm guessing it wasn't even a toaster oven, probably just a toaster. But did she do it as an innocent little kid or a pathetic drunk adult, Kim?
God, that's so hard. I know so many who would do both. I'm going to say... I'm going to say little kid and hope that she's my bad.
No, all right, here. I pre-fired. That happens sometimes. You get to be my age.
And the truth is, I was a very, very drunk adult who had had way too much to drink. And I thought that it would be a good idea if I cooked my French bread frozen pizza in the toaster. And I ended up passing out, and the toaster caught fire, which caused a huge fire in my kitchen and resulted in me paying over $5,000 in damages. So, yeah, drunk adult.
Yeah, drunk adult.
Hope you enjoyed that 13th tequila.
Yeah, right. I had my buddy Lance, a firefighter in St. Paul. I wonder, Lance, how many fires firefighters have had to respond to of drunk people just trying to cook a damn pizza and then passing out. You hear about that all the time. All right, that's all right. You've got one more here. You've got one good one on the board. Let's see if you can't make it 2 out of 3, Kim. This would be Keith.
I decided it would be a good idea to try to surf a guitar down the stairs.
Yeah, surf a guitar down the stairs, but as a little kid or a drunk adult?
Ooh. I'm going to hope it's little kid on this one.
I was a little kid.
There you go.
And Dad was not happy.
That's short and sweet there. I love that. What was that?
Dad was not happy because it was Dad's guitar. That's the part he left out.
Right, no kidding.
My brother Tom was across the street at his buddy's house, and I was sitting at home, and I thought, I want to hear Tom play his guitar. So I picked up his guitar from his room, and I carried it outside, and I dragged it down our driveway and across the street and up the Gales driveway to bring him his guitar. I literally all but destroyed the damn thing. And Tom, to his credit, did not yell at me. He ran home and yelled at my mom for allowing it to happen. So I'm always appreciative of that. Kim, 2 for 3. That's around here. That's about as good as it gets on this game. Well done.
Yeah, all the way around. All right, contestant number 2, Candace.
Mark from Prior Lake.
Mark, good morning.
Morning. You guys hear me?
Yep, sure can, brother. You know what we're doing here, little kid or drunk adult. You understand how it works, correct?
Absolutely, sir. Let's get it going.
Right on.
All right, Kevin, up first. Listen carefully. This is quick.
I took a dump in a urinal at a restaurant.
All right, Kevin took a dump in a urinal at a restaurant as a little kid or a drunk adult. Mark?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with drunk adult.
I was a little kid. I was probably 5, and I had to take a dump, and I went by myself, and I saw a urinal that was really low to the ground. So instead of trying to hop up on a toilet and almost fall in, I decided to pop a squat at the conveniently positioned urinal. Well, with that came no toilet paper nearby, so it didn't take long for my folks to catch a whiff. And asked if I wiped. I lied like all kids, and my dad took me in there, and boom, there it was. We loaded up and took our food to go, and I wasn't allowed to go by myself until much later on.
He lost his by himself potty privileges. All right, that was a long explanation. All right, Mark, that's all right. Get yourself healthy here with Alyssa's scenario. Little kid or drunk adult?
I brushed my teeth with Bengay.
Oh, that old one again. Oh. Brushed her teeth with Bengay as a little kid. The tubes are too similar, right? Oh. Little kid or drunk adult, Mark?
Man, that one could really go either way, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's stick with drunk adult.
I was a drunk adult.
There you go.
My roommate was an athlete in college, and I came home drunk one night. We shared a bathroom, and completely out of it, I apparently grabbed her tube of Bengay instead of the toothpaste, and I didn't realize it till my mouth was on fire. Trust me, don't try this at home.
Don't try it at home. Get solid advice. I wonder if anyone's ever, used toothpaste instead of Bengay.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Mark. All right, this is it, buddy. You can do this. You can tie this up with Amanda.
I started dancing on the table at a restaurant and fell on an old woman's head.
Dancing on a table at a restaurant fell on an old lady's head as a little kid or a drunk adult.
I am going to have to go with a little kid on this one.
Yeah, I was a drunk adult. I ended up falling off a table at Duffy's, and I landed on top of an old woman I never met, and she called me a hooker and said I stank of beer. It was a mess. I was going through a breakup. What do you want? I don't know.
We understand. Dang it, Mark. I mean, like I said, it's a flip of the coin. We'd just as well be spinning a roulette wheel here in the morning. But
I guess
Kim.
I should have asked myself, who allows their child to dance on a table to begin with in a restaurant?
These days, you never know. But yeah, I know. If you try and go through a logical thought process, I don't know that it's even going to help with this game. But we appreciate you playing. Corey Stevens, some fantastic blues at the Medina Friday night.
That's awesome.
All right. All right. Appreciate it. That's great.
It's going to be a killer show. Kim, you are the winner today. You've got tickets, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, Sunday, August 25th at the XL Energy Center. Very well played. Congrats, Kim. I know you're going to have a great time.
Can finally strike Old Black Guys off my bucket list.
There it is.
Yeah.
He's off that list. Thanks so much. I just looked up Old Black Eyes, Alice Cooper. Quick question, Zepp. Don't look it up. How many studio albums would you say Alice Cooper has released?
Oh, studio albums. I'm just going to, right off the top, 16.
50.
Candace says 50. The answer is 27.
27. I was going to say 26 instead of 16, and I thought that just seemed a little high. But all right, there you go. 27 studio albums. He's been at it for a while.
Yeah, he's been cranking it for a while. And hands down, I say this all the time, the single greatest summer song of all time. You can't possibly top School's Out as a summer song.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's just every generation, every kid. For me, being a school age kid when that song came out, that's one thing. But even like my kids, when they first heard that, they're like, "Wait a minute! There's a song about school being out for the summer? Oh, hell yeah!"
Yeah, I mean, Christmas songs are no-brainers for artists, right? They're just going to keep a return. Once you get to be a superstar, you lay down a good Christmas tune or two. That's going to be a return forever. But I love the fact, of course, we just passed Tax Day to start the week, and Taxman, I heard it 25 times. Every time I turned on a radio station or a news station, I would hear Taxman playing in the background. George Harrison wrote a classic that will play forever as long as they collect taxes, which will be forever.
That's right.
And then, School's Out. Such a simple theme, and we have that one anthem, And because we don't need another one. Alice Cooper laid that one down. And
done.
What are you going to do? Write another song about school being out? It's been done, and it's been done perfectly. And and it still gets me excited. And it's been a hell of a long time since school has been out for me. But I hear it, and it transports me to that magical day when you busted out of the door, and all of a sudden the sky was bluer, and the wind tasted fantastic. And I'm just getting tingly thinking about school being out.
It's a yearly just perfect nothing. I love being my age. I wouldn't go back if I could, because you forget about just how completely impossible it is to be an adolescent going through all the things you go through. But that said, that first day out, leaving school every year for the last time, there are few things in life that ever match it, for real. It's like, especially as you enter your teen years, knowing what summer holds. Think back to how different you were at the last day of 7th grade to the first day of 8th grade, the last day of 10th grade to the first day of 11th grade. There's not a 3-month stretch ahead of me in life where I could imagine changing as much as you did every summer.
Every summer.
It just took 1 or 2 new experiences, and you were like reborn as a newer, wiser, more likely to be dumber next time, Steve. It was great.
I think I grew 4 or 5 inches in one summer. Now, of course, that was probably not just that 3-month break, but I came back to school noticeably taller when I was a freshman. And and it didn't even matter that when school was out and I was very excited and we took the bus home and there was Dad there to greet me with a tractor and said, "Guess what you're doing all summer?" Going to the pool in Woolsey. I still was excited about it for some reason. Candace, help me out with this. John the Berserker in studio this morning at 9:30. What's going on here? We have an AWA wrestler coming in.
Yep, they're going to come in. They're going to be at Laugh Camp.
Yeah, that was the part that was, they're going to be at Laugh Camp. Now, are they doing a comedy show? Are they wrestling? Is it both?
I think.
Pro wrestling,
we don't know. That's
pro
what we're
wrestling road stories, uncut and uncensored. That is great. John the Berserker Nord and Len the Grappler Denton in studio at 9:30. It's going to be fun.
That does sound pretty awesome. Well, we've had this up on the KQ Facebook post this morning, but having a lot of fun with it. A lot of posts, weird things your parents told you as a kid that don't really make sense. Let's keep that rolling. We've got some other stories to get to if you want to chime in with a weird parental advice story. Hell, we'd love to hear from you. 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ talk and text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Wednesday, April the 17th. We've been talking throughout the day off and on about weird things our parents told us when we were kids, and then we later realized were completely nuts, bold-faced lies. Occasionally, you go, oh, well, that actually did make sense. But more often than not, it doesn't. Nigel on the KQ Facebook post wrote, "Don't leave your leg out of the bed. Otherwise, a lion will come along and bite it off."
Well, that's very creative. But why as a parent would you not want your kids' legs sticking out from the...
I don't really know. This is a common one. Don't crack those knuckles. You'll get arthritis. Or it will cause your knuckles to swell. I heard that one because I was a knuckle cracker as a kid. I still crack my knuckles. Just the knuckles on my hands, that's it. My daughter cracks every damn joint and bone in her body. Her elbows, her shoulders. She can stand there. She can look you in the eye and just do a hip shake, and her hips go... Like, it's incredible. She cracks everything, and she seems to be perfectly fine. She also has the flexibility of a contortionist. She can do things. Her spine basically is made of a gelatinous goo that allows her to bend in any sort of direction. Yeah. It hurts my back just to watch her and all that she can do. But she cracks everything, and so far so good. So I think that
just
was
air escaping, right? Isn't that what they say? Cracking your knuckles. That's just air escaping. It's not. Mm-hmm. You're not. Loosening the tendons or ruining the joints or anything. I guess. It used to drive me crazy too. My girls did that quite a bit. They'd be constantly cracking things. I'm like, I don't know why that bothers me, but don't do that to yourself.
We were a dog family, which is to say, but the kind of dog family who's not only were we pro-dog, we were anti-cat. Like my dad couldn't stand cats.
Right.
And he used to say, one of the things my dad would say is, anybody who lives alone with cats is a crazy person. And I'd think that's not cool. And then I met a few crazy old cat ladies, and I was like, oh, wait, the old man was onto something with that one. And then you see these studies that say there is a component in cat litter that over time with extended exposure does make people kind of crazy. There's a connection between the dust from your cat litter and it causes some sort of... It gets into your brain. So
like a parasite, right?
Yeah, there are people who, if you are an older person and you've had a house with a bunch of cats for years and years and years, you actually do suffer brain damage from the cat litter. This is true. I don't have the specifics, but just Google cat litter brain damage, old crazy lady. Yeah. It'll all come together.
That's why pregnant women aren't allowed to handle the cat litter.
That's right. Yeah, when Rosemary, both times she was pregnant, I mean, it was like I was on full-time scooping duty. It was a real thing.
Did they just make that up to get off scooping duty for a while?
Yes, that was completely the invention of an OBGYN, a woman who was sick of scooping litter when she was pregnant herself. But here's where this is leading. A woman from Crystal is facing 10 felony counts. Investigators got a hot tip. There's a crazy cat lady in the neighborhood, and I mean a lot of cats, and her house reeks and you can't get near it. Turned out to be true. 124 cats removed from a single home. Most of them were sick, in very bad shape. There was a criminal complaint in Plymouth. Police were investigating the illegal dumping of animal waste, and a man they caught admitted, I've been dumping bags of cat poo from my girlfriend's house in Crystal. They went to the home, and the police reported they could smell the cat poo-poos and pee-pees from 15 feet away from the front door.
Yeah. There's 124 cats in there. What was it? Crosby, Minnesota. Up there, someone, I don't know if it was a lady or not, I don't recall now, had 102 cats in the home. Yeah. Might have been just taking in neighborhood cats, but
amateur.
Yeah, right. 102. I'll see your 102 and raise you 22. 124 cats. What would just an average day inside that home be like? You've got to be mentally checked out, don't you? Something's got to be wrong. The screw is very loose. And I wouldn't be taking the bags of poop out of the house. I would be taking my girlfriend out of the house and seeing what we can do about it. Let's start there and then, send the Humane Society and a hazmat team over to the house and do what you can for the kitties. But
we've had two different
124.
Yeah, two different spells in our life. I'll call them spells. We had two cats for a time. And at no point would a third cat have ever considered if one of the kids had found a kitten and brought it home and can we keep him? I would have been like, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to break your tender little loving heart right now. 3 cats is too many. Imagine going through that 123 times. You got one cat and you're like, I think I'm going to, there's another one. I'll bring him in. Oh, look there's another one. There's another one. 124 times.
My buddy Paul just texted me, no mice. Well, there's the upside. Probably not even any bugs in that house because they're starving to death for crying out loud.
God, no kidding.
I'll tell you what, with the cat smell, now, when Marie and I were living together, she has 2 cats. So I'm like, she does the cat. It wasn't, we didn't have to flip a coin, or I never jumped in and said, let me help out with the cats. The cat litter, that's your thing. But I do end up cleaning it out because it stinks. I don't like a little whiff of cat in the air. And that's with that nice, pleasant-smelling litter and odor control and all that fun stuff. But, I can't imagine 124 cats. And by the way, the day before, not the day before, I think it was 3 days before she left for Colorado to college, Sydney found a stray cat on the road late one night, shows up at my place in St. Paul. Dad. I'm like, well, hey, I'm not going to tell you can't keep it, but you're not going to keep it here. I said, take it to your mom's place. And she said, Mom doesn't want another cat in the house. I said, I know, but when you walk in the house with a kitten, she's going to keep it. I'm not. When you leave, it will be lost again somehow. Oops, I left the door open. I'll make up whatever I have to make up. But the cat is not staying with dear old Dad because you're going to college.
That's right.
But God bless her mother, kept that cat for 4 years.
Oh, boy.
And then gave it when Sydney now has the cat back, and they were reunited.
Wow.
And she would see it when she came home.
Sure.
Yeah, Mom stepped up. But I said, yeah, you take a stray cat into Mom's house, and it's not leaving. She'll kick and scream, but the cat's not leaving.
Kick and scream as she's rearranging furniture to make room for the cat.
Exactly. And then she said she immediately went out and bought a new litter box and its own cat bowl because there's another cat. But anyway, 124 cats. I mean, I don't even know. The house has got to go. I often make the joke, well, the carpet's got to go, but I think the house
you can't bounce back from that.
It's in the foundation.
It's truly in the foundation. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line here at KQ. Candace, we have a caller. Who we got?
Jerry from Buffalo.
Jerry, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just thought I'd chime in on the cat problem. When I was, before I was born as a fetus, mother must have got too close to some cat feces, and it's called toxoplasmosis.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little parasite that can be transmitted. It was transmitted to me. And actually, this little thing, I don't know, some way through vascular or whatever, got up into the retina of my eye, and I'm partially blind from that problem.
Really?
So anyone out there, if you're a young lady, whatever, be very careful if you're living with cats. Don't clean the litter box. Have your husband or someone else do it, or possibly just not even have the cat for.
Well, Jerry,
you make a good point there. Yeah,
Jerry, thanks for the call and sharing that. I mean, a minute ago we're joking. Oh, that's just somebody made that up. No, not true at all. I mean, we were having a joke, but and you are living proof of that, man. So, let me ask you this: how old were you when they noticed there was a problem with your vision?
Actually, when I went to school, I'm an oldster, and we didn't have kindergarten or preschool. So when I was in first grade, they had, I think I was like a school nurse or whatever. They came out and they did hearing tests, eyesight tests, and maybe some other things. But that's when they noticed that my vision in that one eye wasn't up to par.
Wow! And then how long if you remember, till they traced it back to the cat litter thing?
Oh, that was probably in my adult life. They just kind of tried to help me with my eyesight, which there was no really too helping for that eye. All they did is made sure that I didn't wear glasses that had real glass in them. They made sure that they were like a composite, plastic, whatever you want to call it, to make sure that if I got into an accident or something, that I wouldn't shatter and take my good eye as well. So
right.
that's about all that they did. Then later on, I seen a doctor. He was in St. Cloud, and I'm not sure why or what I got to see him, but he was not even anything to do with my eyes, but he just happened to come upon that, and he said, that's all from toxoplasmosis.
Wow,
that is osmosis. All right,
that's fascinating. Sorry you've had to deal with that, but man, I'm greatly appreciative for the call. That's great information to remind people of. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, put a little other tidbit out there. I got to see the same optometrist, I believe it was, that Kirby Puckett did down at.
Oh wow.
Minneapolis. Anyway, you guys have a great day.
Yeah, cheers, Jerry. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so this woman, they found out about this cat house in Crystal with 124 cats because her boyfriend was doing illegal animal feces dumping, or however they worded it. But so can you imagine how many parasites were in that house that she was in contact with? You couldn't get from one end of the house to the other without coming in contact with some cat poop. So she's got to be.
Actually, I know the number of parasites in that house, and that number is all of them.
All of the parasites are in that house. I'll tell you what a lot of couples will do, and we did it, was, hey, we should have a kid. Oh, that sounds terrifying. The responsibility. We're young. We're partying. We both have full-time jobs. It sounds expensive. Let's get a cat. We did that twice. We ended up with 2 cats because we were moving around a lot, and we lived in apartments in uptown and downtown, and a dog just didn't make sense. Before I wanted a dog, I wanted some room for it to get out and move around a little bit. I grew up on a farm or whatever. So, but anyway, so we ended up getting 2 cats. You might want to rethink that. Pre-parenting, putting it off with a cat or 2, because if I'm getting married and I know we're going to have kids, just avoid the cats. I mean, if you already have them, that's one thing, but maybe don't acquire. I just don't want that to be part of the mix, you know.
Hey, speaking of cats, apparently 83% of cat owners, and that includes this guy, did not know the answer to the following question. Are you ready?
All right.
How many toes does the average cat have?
What?
How many toes?
Who cares?
4 paws.
Well, I mean, I know that a mountain lion has
6.
6, yeah, right? So it's got to be the same for a tabby, right?
No, total, though, for the whole animal, not just per paw.
You made me do math. 24?
It's 18.
Oh,
is the number 10 in front?
I'm stupid.
The front paws have 5 toes, and the back.
I can't believe you said 6.
And the back have 4. So
I wish you could. I should draw a picture of the cat I was thinking of in my mind.
Candace has that weird quirk where when she gives a number, you have to multiply it by 3, and then that's always correct.
Yeah, right.
18,
a 3-legged cat.
I would have said 20. I would have said, 5 toes on each paw. It's 5 up front, 4 in the back. I had no idea. I've had cats for over 35 years. So the answer, again, is 18. Here's something else. About half of cat owners, when asked, are shocked to discover cats are actually lactose intolerant. Cow's milk is terrible to give to cats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do not work. It doesn't work with them. They are lactose intolerant, and we give them milk all the time.
Yeah, that must be a domestic cat thing, because I know on the farm, we had farm cats. Now Mom has a cat or two that are allowed in the house, but when we were growing up, they were, I wouldn't say feral. You could pet them, but you probably wanted to put a glove on before you did. You certainly didn't cuddle with them.
Yeah.
And they ate rats. They stayed outside, 365, 24/7. But they were constantly, I know we'd be out there. We had the whole milk set up, with the goats, and we had dairy cattle for a while, and they were drinking the heck out of it, but they might have adapted. They might have been sort of like wild cats, maybe house cats, or I had no idea. I thought that was their thing, right? Milk.
That's what everybody thinks, and apparently it's not the thing. Half of cat owners are surprised to find out that your cat will drink more water if it's running water. So those cat fountains, way better than just a bowl of water. And we discovered that years ago. We have 2 of these little fountains that just recirculates water the whole time, and the cats do drink a lot more.
Yeah.
We had an old cat, Marbles, who had kidney problems, and the vet was like, "This cat just simply needs to drink more water." And we're like, "Well, we put it in a bowl," and the vet was like, "Just get one of those fountains." And of course, my eyes were, I'm like, "Oh, a cat needs a fountain. What else? Do we want to put some chocolate fondue in there too?" And the guy's like, "No, dude, trust me, running water helps." And then the cat was like, within a week, the cat was like so much better. Like, "Oh, thank God, I'm finally hydrated."
I feel like cats are doing this to us. A dog's going to drink, out of an old tire. If it needs a drink of water. But cats, they want us to jump through hoops. The joke is on us. The cats are in charge. We're the pets.
Chauncey would work down a can of 10W40. I mean, anything that's flowing, he doesn't care. What is that like? Is that good oil for a 4-stroke engine? I'll drink some of that. He doesn't give a rat's ass. As long as it's flowing, it's going.
I'm excited. We have a couple of wrestlers coming in here less than an hour from now, right around 9:30. The Berserker. I don't have the information in front of me, but a couple of local wrestling guys are coming in, and they're doing a Laugh Camp comedy special. Sounds very intriguing to me. Here before the top of the hour, we're going to get into this. This is a very divisive. Even here on the KQ Morning Show, this has come up. Airlines. It's the end of an era. If you take flights, an end of an era. I think if airlines end up going forward with this, we'll talk about it. I think we've all ended up on different sides of the aisle, the airline aisle, on this particular topic. What are we talking about? We'll get to it before 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, April the 17th. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, American Girl. I got to tell you, every now and again, I still think to myself, man, I miss Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't recall a more shocking, David Bowie. There were
Prince was
rumors that he was ill. Like, he had it pretty locked down, but I had heard whifflings of it, if you will. Prince had the false alarm a week out.
Yeah.
Wasn't confirmed, but it was kind of confirmed. Like, Prince OD'd on a plane, and they had to pull him over or land it. And
give him the shot to bring him back.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a heads up, I guess, that it was coming. Glenn Fry was a shock. But, boy, the Tom Petty, I just remember staring at my phone when it came across like on Twitter, and I was just like, I'm sorry, what? No, that doesn't compute on any level.
Every once in a while, just this year, 2024, I forgot that it was coming up, and I was talking to somebody. I went, Tom Petty. I'm like, can't believe he's gone. I went, I keep forgetting he's actually gone. Yeah.
We were talking earlier in the show about things your parents told you that turned out not to be true or were completely insane or whatever. Like, what did your parents say? Candace started the day by mentioning her mom used to say, don't go to bed with a wet head. Like, dry your hair before you go to sleep. I violated that last night. I literally took a shower and got right in bed and fell asleep.
We can all tell.
Well, it looks great, doesn't it? When you haven't put a brush through your hair in 4 decades, you got all the tricks down. Becky on the Facebook page wrote, Dad ingrained in my head when I got my license to always turn the radio and the heat or AC off before turning the car off. That way, it's sure to start up right away without draining the battery. I'm 52. I'm 52, and I still don't know how to not do this.
Yeah, well, because logically, that's not the case. You've worked that through in your mind. However, maybe it just helps, just make you think of dear old dad, just a kind of Sydney was saying something the other day that she still does. I'm like, why do you do that? She goes, just reminds me of you. And I'm like, come here, give me a hug, you little squirt.
This is Becky followed that up with, this is the same dad who sent me to his buddy's full service station to check my blinker fluid. Here's something.
I think Dad's punking you, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe just a little. The first time I got on a commercial airliner, I was 20. Which I look back and think, and at the time I was like, oh my God, I'm flying at 20. I'm ahead of schedule. Like, I didn't know too many people who'd flown at my age.
No. Yeah.
And I got a flight from Nashville to Philadelphia. That was on Piedmont Airlines, if you remember that airline.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to go. And my mom looked at me and she said, absolutely not. You have to go put on a nice shirt. And I said, excuse me? And she said, you have to put on a nice shirt. You don't wear a T-shirt on a flight. And she said this as if it was law, because back in the old days, it was law. That's what you had to do. And I was, stupefied. But that was the old school. You dress up to travel. We certainly know that's hardly the case anymore.
No kid, you dress down to travel. It was a big thing in our house. Of course, I remember being a kid and patches were turning into the thing. The mushroom patch or the goofy car patch. Everybody had patches on their jeans and stuff like that. Right before the designer jean thing came in, our bell bottoms were putting patches on, and I wanted Mom to put a patch on. She said, but you don't have a hole in your jeans. I said, yeah, but the patches are cool. People just have the patches. And she said, if we put a patch on your jeans, people are going to think that there was a hole in it and that we're poor.
Sure.
And I'm thinking to myself, we are poor. And you and Dad talk about it all the time. We overhear the conversations. We know that we're poor dirt farmers out here in the middle of nowhere. But she didn't want to do that. I think she did finally acquiesce. She would kind of see the thing that was going on. But then the destroyed jeans came along in my child's era, and that was... It really wasn't much of a jean. You talk about threads. It was, just maybe 50 tears in the jeans. The more destroyed they were, the cooler it was. And in my head, I'm going, I get this because I wanted the patch as a kid. But what came out of my mouth was, you're not wearing those to school. No, those are just raggedy and ratty. You've got to, or if we go out to dinner, still to this day, I'd be like, can you just, I don't know, throw on something that isn't a... you suck T-shirt. Do we have anything else? Can you throw on something nice? We're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, we're going to the Crab Shack. Just relax.
Just
I'm like,
relax. It's fine.
But come on.
I still see people on planes all the time that go. They wear sandals and then kick them off. When I see somebody barefoot on a plane. I don't have a problem with bare feet. Generally, my first thought is, and I'm not a germaphobe, but I'm like, you are on an airplane.
fungus.
And I have seen many times over the years, someone comes out of the airplane lavatory and they have been in there in bare feet.
No,
my gosh.
Yeah. Nope. I saw that at a bar recently. Someone came out without their flip-flops on, a young lady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you went into a bar bathroom in your bare feet? And you know she's going to go home and just lay down on the couch and throw those bare feet up on the couch or crawl into bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a germaphobe either, but I have a line. That's it.
There's a photo actually of RFK Jr., the presidential candidate and an interesting member of the Kennedy family. Think about it. It's hard to stick out in that family. It's a clown.
He's the rebel
car
in that family.
It's a real clown car, but he came up with his own face paint. And there's a photo of him walking out of a bathroom in first class of an airline in bare feet. And it's like, dude. I don't care what you painted on the bottom of your feet. The germs are going through there. But anyway, speaking of airline
has someone
flights,
to wash his feet for him.
It probably does. I'm sure he does. Here's something I just saw. Aer Lingus and Delta Airlines. Delta and Aer Lingus, the Irish airline, are now about to start opening back up to nonstop flights Minneapolis to Dublin.
Ooh.
2 flights.
Sick.
Yeah. Delta starts on May 9th. Aer Lingus starts April 29th. There used to be this flight, but then after the pandemic, it went away, but now it's back. So good competition. 2 airlines flying to Dublin means they're going to keep each other in check. The flights
I hope so.
aren't priced too bad. So if you're looking to get to Ireland, you can go nonstop as of April 29th. That's good news. However, down the road in the not too distant future, I should say, if you are flying and you are sitting, especially in coach, you may have one option removed from your experience, and that is to lean back or not, because apparently airlines are phasing out seats that can recline.
Yeah, you know what? Do it, because I'm the biggest dick on the planet because I recline my seat, apparently. I'm that guy. Now, listen, I will, when I sit down, see if there's Steve Gorman behind me, some guy that's well over 6 feet tall. No, I'm not going to. I don't want to jam my seat into his knees.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a regular-sized person, average,
so it's Candace,
I should say.
you chopped liver, huh?
Coming back, Candace. If you want to rub my temples, I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders. I reach around. Isn't out of the question, I hope. But no, here it is. I do like to catch a little Z's, and I do not usually put it all the way back, but those seats, in an effort to get more of us into that fuselage, sit not only straight up, but if you look at them, they're angled just a bit forward. That's why every time you start to doze off, you almost headbutt the screen in front of you or whatever. But can we just go, all right, get rid of it, so that I'm not the douche that reclines my seat, and I've had people pushing on it and punching it and kicking it. There was one guy one time that had one of those little clips he traveled with so that you couldn't recline your seat, and I thought, I don't want to land the plane. I'm feeling rage inside me right now, but I'm going to take deep breaths, and I'm going to, eat an edible and just go to my happy place, but I would like to recline a little. All right, so just build a little recline in. Could you do that? Just to maybe, 5 degrees, give us 3 degrees of recline there, so that we can get somewhat comfortable on the plane that you're jamming us all into.
This is not a concern for me with my own seat, and maybe it is because I'm 6'3". I never recline because it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. My legs are still cramped. I'm uncomfortable, and all I am is slightly less uncomfortable, slightly more comfortable, maybe at best. And then you add in the factor of, but now I'm in someone's space behind me. There goes whatever tiny amount of comfort I just got has been replaced with the discomfort of being rude to someone else.
Then see how the space becomes. You see how it's relative? If you recline and they recline, if everyone reclines, then we all have the same amount of space.
Yeah, but I also have the skill where I can fall asleep at any time, at any place, and I utilize that. So when I get on a plane, I put that seatbelt on, and I'm almost always, I'm drifting off to sleep before takeoff.
Bucky.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, it's very divisive, so just get rid of the damn thing.
I could go to sleep right now that we're talking about it. Before the end of this segment, I could be snoring.
Oh, no, you don't.
But here's the deal. The airlines aren't thinking, we got to eliminate the potential tension. The main reasons this is happening, reclining seats way more. They are heavier.
Yeah.
That that means over time and over the number of seats and the number of flights, you burn more fuel.
And people are getting fatter,
lighter
so you got to watch the weight thing. Yeah,
lighter seats keep fuel costs down, and they don't need mechanical parts, so that's much less maintenance. I'm
calling bullshit because they would have done it a long time ago.
Yeah,
listen, the whole lightening the plane thing has been around for a while. Since the Wright brothers went, hey, you know what? Why don't you take off your rodeo belt buckle? Maybe we can get this sucker off the ground.
Yeah, right.
But, but anyway, they're trying to maximum. They're looking like any good business should do in a free market system, a way to save money, make things safer. And so I'm not going to begrudge them that. But, yeah, you know what? It's the whole reclining thing is, like I said, it's out of hand. So just get rid of it, I guess. And then you reduce the weight and burn less fuel and yada, yada.
Yeah. So my thing lately is I'm astonished at how when you're on a plane, and I prefer an aisle seat. In the last year and a half, I've been back to Nashville a bunch, and I'm usually on Southwest, and I take an aisle seat just because I feel like a little bit more space than a window seat. I like looking out the window, but if it's going to be three of us across the aisle, I'm going to be on that aisle seat. Easy access to standing up, stretching if need be, all these things. But what is mind-boggling to me, my shoulders are not wider than they were 10 years ago. I know that for a fact. They're not wider than they were 20 years ago. The number of people that slam into my shoulder when I'm sitting in my seat.
Oh, my God.
And it's not hanging over the aisle. I'm not in aisle space, but it does not matter. If it's not someone's ass, it's their backpack. And it's like the lack of awareness. The number of people, shoulder bag or a backpack, it's like, you have to factor that into the size of you. It still matters. And it's just amazing to me. Every time I'm on that plane, if somebody's coming from the back to the front for any reason, it's just, there comes my arm. I've actually looked at my jacket to think, did somebody, is there a piece of paper that says hit me? Did someone put that on my shoulder?
Yeah. Right. I mean, backpacks have become all the rage. I don't know, 30 years ago, it was just if you were going camping, someone would get on a plane with a backpack and you go, oh, there's someone, they're going out, they must be going on a hike up to the mountains somewhere. But now everyone's wearing the backpacks. And that thing is swinging around behind you. And they come down the aisle and they just, turn left a little bit right. And you've got a backpack in your face. And,
incredible.
Yeah, I know. Brian, did you ever hear Brian Regan's spiel on the backpacks on planes?
I don't think so.
All right, I think I've got it.
I'll tell you what should be a crime. People boarding planes while wearing backpacks. If you're someone who does that, a little heads up, your backpacks are hitting people in the face.
That's great.
I only care about what's in front of me.
That's it.
With everything in my wake.
All right.
Well, I wear a backpack. I usually will hold my backpack in front of me.
Hold it. You're right.
But this last time I flew was really, really sucky. I was assigned my seat earlier in the morning, and I was in the fourth row. I was so stoked. Fourth row aisle seat, and then last minute when they checked me in, they put me in the very back row window seat.
Why?
No, wait, how can they do that?
I know. I sent a message to
You didn't fly into a rage? You didn't start saying, that person beside me isn't real?
I'm checking the Karens of Instagram account to see if Candace is raging at a flight attendant.
I mean, whatever. At that point, I was fine. But it really sucks when I was crawling into my window seat over this poor man. The little seat thing in the middle of the seats was sticking out. I bonked my butt on the handle in between the seats, and there's a bruise that's like the size of my hand, and it's black and blue right now.
You are a princess.
I almost started crying.
What?
And then
first of all, those handles do go up. You can swing them up. Even the aisle ones. I love the people trying to get out the aisle handle there, and they're trying to maneuver, especially someone it might be a little older, and they're trying. I'm like, you can just lift it up and step out if you'd like.
Goes right away.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even see it. I was in a flurry or whatever that.
You're in your furry outfit.
And I bonked my butt, and then he goes,
your butt.
he's like, "It's okay, honey. We're gonna get through this."
I love him. You sat next to a good grandpa there. Mm-hmm. That's all right. You have a seat there. Can we get an ice pack for this woman's butt?
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Hey, did you ever, when you were a kid, remember like in the 80s, Domino's had 30 minutes or free? Like you could order Domino's way before GPS was a thing. And by God, you'd get that pizza within 30 minutes or it would be free. And they were literally like, here you go, 32 minutes, free pizza. And then every now and again, you got really funny and you thought, I'm going to order a pizza to someone else's house. Just as a prank.
That old prank, right?
Because what you think you're doing is pranking the person. You don't realize you're putting an entire workforce, like everyone at Domino's and the delivery guy, you're screwing up their day. But we all tried it at least once. Check this out. There's a dude in Canada. His name is Justin Rybicki, and he got a pizza delivered a few months ago. Came to his house. He goes, yeah, I didn't order this. And the guy, it was from a shop called Pizza 73. And I said, yeah, you did. Are you Justin? Blah, blah, blah. This is your address. Is this your phone number? Yes, it is. He goes, what about your email? Yeah, that's my number. That's my email. This is my home, but I did not order this pizza. And the driver was like, oh, come on, man, pissed off. Well, then it happened again the next day. And then it happened again the next day. And now for 6 months, dude has had pizza sent his way every single day. He cannot get it to stop. They are not being charged to one of his credit cards, but they are being paid for in advance. Someone is ordering pizzas now from multiple pizza shops because after a while he called Pizza 73 and said, I promise you, this is not me. Stop bringing me pizzas.
You would have thought after like the third time for sure, Pizza 73 would have been, no, it's that Justin cat again. He's on the no-fly list.
But again, this is in Canada, so they're like, he must be confused.
I'm sorry, get him a pizza.
But now the guy's going to multiple Domino's locations. The scammer is using technology to manipulate the phone number so it looks like Justin's number is making the call.
I mean, this is what you're doing with this wonderful hack. You're going after a Canadian citizen, someone that... All right, first of all, let's hear from Justin, and this is a constable. They're not police officers up there on this.
So I checked my emails, and it had an order that I never ordered. So then we told them that it wasn't me that ordered the pizzas. So that's when we called the head office of Pizza 73 and told them that anyone with the name Justin Rybicki cancel the orders.
The suspects that are ordering the pizza are actually obviously using technology to spoof his number, which they know. So when they call it, it's coming up as him.
I never dated anyone, so it's not that. I hope karma gets you someday and delivers pizza to your house.
Oh, it's not even a psycho ex. I mean, now I feel bad. Who's picking on this guy? And you said they're paying for him? Hey, the joke's on that person. I'll take the pizza. Thank you very much. Here's a $5 for delivering it.
Like you said, you have the ability to figure out how to do this, and that's what you're using it for?
You're going after Justin, whatever.
Dude, have a nuclear submarine come up to Lake Huron for crying out loud.
Right, exactly. Try to scam some money. Have a bank send you some dough or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's because this is a crime of some sort, I'm sure. But wow, the poor guy. I've never dated, so it isn't an ex. Oh man, now I wish it was a psycho ex. He needs an ex.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Oh, man. Well, we got to get along here. We've got some guests coming in, you guys. Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut and uncensored. Happening at Laugh Camp Comedy. Yeah, the Berserker and Grappler in studio. You want to be around for this. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, April the 17th. On Saturday, April 20th, this Saturday night at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club, we got a bit of a show for you. Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut, uncensored, with John Nord and Len Denton. John, also known as the Berserker, among other things, a native of the area, is now joining us in studio. John, good morning, sir.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
And you grew up where exactly?
You're right in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, like about 8 other guys that worked for the WWF back then.
So, pardon my ignorance here. I've recently realized and discovered how big wrestling is in Minnesota. I've only been here about 15 months, and every time there's a wrestling event, Candace gets excited, Zep gets excited. The stories start coming. Everybody around here grew up really into wrestling.
Yeah, well, especially you can drop names like Kurt Hennig, Rick Rude, Nikita Koloff, and they're all Robbinsdale. And I think but really the big thing was Vern Gagne, AWA back then.
I even know who that is, back in the day. So the Robbinsdale scene must have been a lot of wrestlers out of that area is what you're telling me.
Well, Vern graduated 1943 with actually my father-in-law, Joe Elson, and that's when it really started. It was 1943, but then all of us guys knew one thing. We were we did not want to work for a living, so we knew we were going to be pro wrestlers.
You're in a room full of people who had that exact same thought, my friend.
Ain't it the truth?
That's exactly the truth. So that's fantastic. So again, working backwards. So Saturday night at Laugh Camp, uncut and uncensored pro wrestling road stories for anybody that has been a fan of wrestling, and that's a lot of people. I got to think this is a pretty good time. You are going to be up there with Lou Denton, and you guys, I'm sure you start with an idea of what you're going to talk about, but then the more you go, you probably, those memories come out you forgot you had, and then next thing you know, you're all over the place.
That's how it goes too. Is
great. And
you get into, you try to do the big names like Jesse Ventura, Muhammad Ali. I wrestled both them guys, so.
Okay, stop. Hold on. Sorry. We're gonna park the car right here.
Yep.
I'm not surprised to hear you wrestled with Jesse, but Muhammad Ali, I need that story.
Okay, well, it was 1985, June 1985 at the Superdome.
Okay, right after his career. I mean, he's still a young guy.
And here he comes in. He's just starting to get shaky in the Parkinson.
Yeah.
And it was me and Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake versus him and a guy named the Snowman, who they were pushing back, and the Snowman was, he was about what you think. He was a real, kind of a jivey dude, and he was a good guy though.
Yeah, okay.
And me and Jake were the heels. We were the bad guys, and he had Ali in his corner, and I remember. Bill Watts owned Mid-South Wrestling. That's who we were working for then. And so they brought in Ali, and I remember he had just come from a birthday party. And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you get paid for that? I just threw it out there. And he said $25,000.
Wow.
So, that was a good payday for
1985. That's a lot of dollars.
That's a big payday. Yeah. And I never did ask what he got for doing our event, but it was just a thing where we kind of had it mapped out, but we also had to ad-lib, and so he came up on the apron.
Sure.
And next thing you know, we were bad. We were getting the Snowman from behind, and we were,
was Ali rope-a-doping you at all? Did he bring out the rope-a-dope?
Did he? No, that was for Foreman. But I'll tell you what, we just went to the ring, and he gave us. I remember going up to him in the locker room. I says, "Now, do you know how to throw a working punch so you don't?" And he's like, yeah, I think I got that. I'm like, oh, yeah, right.
Has he ever
I'm sorry.
Right, you know how to miss me? This is professional wrestling. John, you wrestled, of course, Bret Hart, that legendary Hart Canadian wrestling family. They're royalty as far as I'm concerned. Bret's right up there at the very, very top. I'm sure you have some stories about Bret and Owen and the family.
Oh, yeah, Bret's a good friend of mine. And, Bret was not the wild, crazy guy after the matches like the Robbinsdale guys were. Right. But, we got into a little bit of trouble. And do I got any great Bret Hart stories? Not really, like some, not really.
Well, he came from a professional wrestling family. I mean, he was, at least second generation. Well, and so I suppose it was very business for them.
Yeah, it was. And obviously, Stu Hart, his dad, had signed Jim Neidhart, who was married to Brett's sister, Davey Boy Smith, who was married to his other sister, and then so they had the Hart Club there, and Jim Neidhart was one of my funniest characters, I think, and he'd bring his beard like this and go, I was shocked at the speed of that man. That's the way Jim talked. And we got pulled over one night. We'd just done a charity in La Crosse, and a Wisconsin trooper pulls us over. And he knew we had just done a charity, so he was going to go easy on us. But Jim was driving this rental Lincoln. It was a 92. And the highway patrolman goes, Mr. Neidhart, you were doing 110. And Neidhart looks at him, pulls his beard up a little bit, and goes, these Lincolns do creep up on you.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so there's my Jim Neidhart story.
That's great. John Nord's in studio with us on the KQ Morning Show. Saturday, April 20th. That's in 3 nights from now at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut and uncensored. John Nord, along with Len the Grappler Denton. So, John, different times in your career, different areas, you had different names. You had different characters you played.
Yeah.
First things first, I'm a musician. I've been in bands. The hardest part about being in a band is finding the name. That's what it's impossible. Did you ever have...
true.
Were you struggling to come up with names?
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was 25 years old. I was in the USFL for 2 years.
Oh, no kidding.
Playing football. And
Which team?
New Jersey Generals.
Oh, nice. With Herschel Walker?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And the San Antonio Gunslingers with Rick Neuheisel.
Wow.
If you remember those names.
Yeah.
But the name, I didn't have a clue. Vern Gagne knew I didn't know what I was doing, so he sent me down to Bill Watts in 1985. And Watts said, we're going to make you the Barbarian. Jake Roberts, the first 3 hours I was there, took me to a barber and started shaving my head all goofy. And he said, you're the Barbarian and act like one. I said, you got it. So I did, and it actually got over. It got over, and we ended up with some big matches and big paydays, like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I was thinking when you were telling the Ali story, most people get out of a ring with Ali and they're just seeing stars. You know what I mean? They're just
and here's the thing, Steve.
You walked out with a good story and probably a smile on your face.
Here's the thing. Steve, he comes up to me after the match. Most guys are going to want to get pictures. And come on, Muhammad, all this. Not me. I wanted to get to Bourbon Street to get drunk. Muhammad, don't get out of my way, please.
Yeah.
And then Jake, of course, he has a way of stretching stories, and Jake says, Muhammad came up to me and said, hey, man, you're really a smart guy. You're really, like, Jake, it's not time to put yourself over. It's Muhammad Ali. You don't have to involve yourself. Yeah, so.
That's so funny. Coming up along the way, I get, you said Muhammad Ali, you're like, hey, you know how to pull a punch, right? You know how not to hit
that's what I said.
But along the way, I imagine there are some, you started young, you get into a ring with a wrestler who's maybe not as seasoned. There are probably guys who don't know their own strength, or the adrenaline takes over. Did you ever have a rookie in the ring where you had to look at him and go, dude, what are you doing?
Very much so.
Yeah.
That's huge that you even know that, because that's the biggest problem is you get scared like, hey, and I was one of them guys.
Okay,
because Jake was like, how many matches have you had? And I had, my eye was sticking out because I hit the ring post. So I had this big black and blue eye. And Jake says, how many matches have you had? And he tells the story as one, but the truth is I said about 7. And Jake, he's Mr. Theatrical. Oh my God, this guy ain't pulling no punches. His kicks are going to be stiff, his everything, and so that is a big thing about pro wrestling is, some of the stuff that don't look like it hurt like
the worst.
Hell. The worst shit.
Oh man, that's rough. Well, again, as a musician, it's all performance. It's all entertainment at a certain level. every guitarist his first gig, he's going to play every lick he ever learned in the basement. And it's like, you get in with someone, you're like, dude, we're one song in. You've already played every note. Like, relax.
Yeah, don't give them everything.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. But I tell you what, it's that was a good times in Mid-South wrestling. But the Vern Gagne, if I had to have one guy that was my idol in pro wrestling, it was Vern Gagne. He made pro wrestling. He was a 2-time national champ. He was the real deal. Vern was a little nuts. I mean, he was stuck on himself, but he not like a Jesse. Jesse's like, hey, Johnny, did you know Andre's head alone weighed 100 pounds? And I said, okay, but I grew up knowing Jesse since I was 15, so I'm a little hard on him because if you ain't talking about him,
sure.
You don't want to talk.
Yeah, right. I got you. John Nord's in studio Saturday night, April 20th at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut and uncensored with John Nord along with Len, the Grappler.
Now,
Denton.
Steve, here's a big thing I want to remind you of. Ric Flair is a friend of mine.
Okay.
And Ric Flair's at this card show. Basketball, baseball, trading cards.
Okay.
And that's a 3-day event that we're also going to be at the St. Paul River Center.
Nice.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh,
and
okay.
Anyways, long story short, Flair's going to be there. But I talked to Rick, and Rick said, I'll stop by the comedy club for sure. I said, you promise? I said,
Saturday night?
I said, so I'm going to grab you.
Okay.
So Ric Flair should be there. I said, even if you give us 15 minutes, Rick, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Steve talked about coming up with your name. What about everybody had their signature move? I'm trying to remember what your signature move was, and then how did you guys divvy that up? Was it like you do this move, I'll do this move, but everybody had their signature hold or move?
Yeah, that's true. Mine started out as a head full Nelson. Deal, and because it was easy and I couldn't screw it up, and the promoter knew that, Bill Watts. So that's my best one. Because a lot of guys still bring up, I love you when you just killed Shawn Michaels in that match. I said, that was as bad as it looked because I was really hard on Shawn on that match. But then I never had that really famous signature move, Steve. It just wasn't my gig. I was just the brawling guy right away and never knowing what I was going to do.
Right. And
what was your record?
In bar fights, I was 112 and 0. But pro wrestling. I think I got pinned maybe 6 times in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that ain't too bad.
And playing a heel everywhere you went.
Yeah, my big money year was 93. 92, I made $385,000 because The Undertaker. I went up to The Undertaker and said, who can you have a good match with?
Wow.
He was having a little struggle on having good matches because of his gimmick. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And he said, John Nord, I can have a good match with him. Well, that was the plug I needed.
Yeah.
That tripled my money.
Nice.
So that year, I'm like eternally grateful to Mark Calloway, The Undertaker.
And you mentioned, being a kid, you said you go back with Jesse to when you're like 15. So were you already thinking at that age, like, there's something here for me, I'm going to move into this? Because, again, wrestling to me, because I didn't grow up around it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to think that there's an area like where you came from, like you said, the Robbinsdale, it's all around. So it's not an unusual thing, I guess, at your age, or a kid that, in that area to think, I'm going to pursue this.
Yeah, and you're right. But it was always on the back burner for me. I wanted to be a pro football player. But, Kurt Hennig always used to, it was actually Chuck Fairbanks, who was head coach for the Generals, said, Nord, if you ever untie your knees, you'd be a pretty good football player. And I said, you son of a...
Did you play for the Gophers?
No, I played for Montana State.
There you go, the Bobcats.
Bobcats. Wow. So that was my dream, was to be a pro football player. And when your body starts falling apart, even at age 22, 3, you got to start thinking. And my buddies were in it, and so I wanted. And I was actually in Brad Rangan's, who was an Olympian, his very first AWA wrestling camp in '84. So that was quite a array of guys that was in that wrestling camp.
Wow, that's fantastic. John Nord's in studio with us on the KQ Morning Show. I do have to ask you one story. You're going to be telling so many of them Saturday night at the Laugh Camp. I have a note here. It says, ask about the Dusty Rhodes muffler incident.
I'll condense it for you, Steve, okay?
Yeah.
So it's 1984, and I'm at the Allstate Center, which used to be the Rosemount Horizon in Chicago,
yeah,
right?
Sure, yeah.
So, and I'm looking at all these huge guys, Larry Henning, Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant, Jerry Blackwell, and I'm looking on the corner of my eye, and they're taking toilet paper, and they're wrapping it around their fingers, and they're sliding it off their hand, and they're wedging it in their buttocks.
Okay. And in between the cheeks.
Yes. Yeah. And probably pretty deep in the cheeks, too.
Yeah.
Even for that. I know
canyon.
this is bad, but it won't get no worse. Don't worry. Anyway, so I'm looking at the corner of my eyes, and Dusty comes up to me, and they had a great name for it. Dusty Rhodes comes up, and I'm wrestling him that night, and he says, "Hey, Big Johnny, baby, you got your muffler in?" I said, "What?" I said, "No, I don't think I need one of them." So it was called their muffler. So anyways, I'm wrestling Dusty. The end of the match is supposed to be me pile drive him, upside down, boom, turn him over, 1, 2, 3, I win.
Yeah.
Well, I had never done a pile driver before, so I'm trying to get Dusty up.
Go ahead and do your first one in an arena full of people. Yeah. Go for
exactly.
it. Yeah,
and there's 8,000 people. So I try to get Dusty up the first time, and he's kicking his boots, and I think he's doing it as a rib, too.
Yeah.
And they're hitting me in the forehead, and that wasn't fun. And then, so I didn't get him up. So the second time I tried, I thought I'll grab his trunks. And his trunks were real stretchy, so they just stretched.
Oh, boy.
And now his butt cheeks hanging out. and it was actually his left butt cheek with my right hand.
Yeah.
So now, the third time, I just went, "You're going up, you son of a..."
Yeah.
And I grabbed his butt cheek with my hand, and I heard him go, "Ah!" And I pulled him, and as I was pulling him up, I pulled his butt cheek to the side, and his muffler fell out in the ring. So now the muffler's in the ring, but I got him up. He's straight up and down, and I'm looking down at it, and it's kind of nasty. And I start going...
Oh my God.
Yeah. So now the hecklers and the fans are going, "What's that? Your tampon?" And
my
and
gosh.
now they're coming, they're heckling. But right before I pile drived them, Dusty goes, "Hey, Big Johnny, my muffler fell out, baby." So I piled that, and we were laughing with our elbows. So that's the muffler story.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, I'm sure there's a longer, safe for off radio version of that to be shared, of course.
That's the uncut and uncensored part.
That's exactly
the Saturday night.
Yeah,
I love
Saturday at Laugh Camp.
Yeah.
It's going to be Pro Wrestling Road Stories with John Nord and Len Denton.
And don't forget about the Flair. I think Flair will, because I'm going to throw
possible
him in.
Flair appearance.
I'm going to throw him in my car. Rick will do that for me. I know he will. And we're sponsored by Polka Dot Milk. Burger Brothers promotion, but Polka Dot Milk is Hastings guys. I got about 30 of them coming up, and my cousin owns Polka Dot Milk, and these guys are all hard chargers, and I wanted to just give Patrick Pettit a plug.
Nice.
Yeah. That sounds like it's going to be just as rowdy in the crowd there, maybe.
We're going to go crazy. We are. And it's going to be fun. I didn't expect this many people that I knew personally that were going to come. So, and then when Rick said, "Yeah, I'll come by," and I'll say, and so if I throw him in the car, he'll make it.
John, I know, like we talked about, sometimes you get hit, you get choked a little harder than you expect. Was there ever a time in the ring when you legit got injured? Like you knew, like, oh, that's a ligament, or oh, that's a bone break, or anything like that?
Yes, I did. The Undertaker did a choke slam on me. and I would jump up, and he would go really high. I'd go really high to get the audience to really think like, wow. Well, my elbow had gotten somehow behind my back, so I landed my back on my elbow, and then my shoulder was dislocated, like out of the joint.
No.
And even he was freaking out.
Yeah, right.
So that right there, but most of them are like, you son of a, you idiot, you just kicked me in the eye.
Yeah, right.
And you didn't have to even kick me that hard.
Yeah.
They would have bought it lock, stock, and barrel if you would have just did it a little bit. But you had to injure. So, yeah, that happens every night.
Yeah, that is so great. Measuring the, a life spent going not hard enough, too hard.
Yeah.
In the middle spot. What's the matter with you?
Yes. And you know what? The thing you find out as pro wrestlers is you are a definite. You get so tight with each other, just like musicians, and you are super, super just, there's nothing, there's certain guys. The only guy I got in a fight with in the locker room, but there was two guys, Butch Reed, and then the Sheik, not the Sheik from Minneapolis, but the Iron Sheik.
The Iron Sheik, wow.
Yeah. And I punched him because he put some dope in my bag going across the border.
No way.
Edmonton.
He fully earned more than just one punch.
But luckily I got it out of my bag and I threw it in a planter. Wow. So, yeah. To do that, and then he got fired for that one. That would have been a bad one.
Yeah, I would say so. There's going to be a lot more stories like this Saturday night, Laugh Camp Comedy Club. It is Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut and uncensored. John, thank you so much for coming by, man. This has been an absolute blast.
Hey, Steve, you guys are awesome here. I love you guys.
Thank you. Well, I know you're going to have a great night Saturday night.
Yeah,
all the best. Sit right there because it's time. We have to learn a little something every day around here, so it's time for a quick history lesson. On this day in 1987, Harry Carey not calling games for the Cubs. He was on the bench after suffering a stroke. Who filled in for him? Bill Murray for 4 hours on WGN. Pre-game, game, and post-game. Here's just a quick snippet of Bill Murray that very legendary day.
Thanks, Steve. Hello, everybody.
Even the thanks, Steve.
Starting for the Expos in left field, Casey Candell. He's no good. In right field is Mitch Webster. He's no good. At first is Andre. How would you folks at home say that name? Andre Galarraga. Tim Wallach's at third. Jeff Reed is catching. Vance Law is overrated. He's at second base. Tom Foley shouldn't even be playing. He's at shortstop. Herman Winningham. What, you're going to be afraid of a guy named Herman Winningham? We'll just throw it right down the plate when he's up. Floyd, you mans.
That is so great. 4 hours, over 4 hours on WGN Live. Bill Murray just running court, like holding court. And that's pre-internet, of course. That's even for me in 1987, pre-VCR. But man, everyone talked about that game for days and weeks.
Did they?
Oh, it was on, it just slowly picked up national news. Like, in case you missed it, Bill Murray was at the Wrigley Field last week.
You remember when he was in the audience on the Tonight Show with his girlfriend, and then they go, and Bill Murray's in the audience, and he just took his hand and put it on her boob.
I don't remember it, but I can see it.
Yeah.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.